No, the trouble is, I lift this ear off to then speak to Andrew, so I need it on this side.
Yeah, you want a should be me, shouldn't it? Should be the other way.
This is fine. We always have it the other way.
Why?
Because then when we...
Yeah. What, opposite ways?
Yeah, so then when you lift your can off, I can talk to you.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. Thanks, mate.
Thank you, mate. They're worried that you can see it when I turn to you, but...
I'm not too worried.
No.
Up to you.
You better strangle yourself there, mate.
Oh, right, sorry, Robert. Yeah.
Smash the subscribe and like button, and don't forget to hit the bell so you don't miss out on any action.
Hit it down below.
Epic indeed. We are here at Arvika in Sweden for RallyX Nordic Round 7 Superfinalen. I'm told that's Swedish for super final. Who would have guessed? It's barely spelled any differently. I'm quite excited, as you can probably tell. I've got alongside, I'm Andrew Coley, by the way, in case you've forgotten. That's a wonderful view of Arvika, where I turned up this morning, and just out the bottom there, I walked through the pre-grid. Someone did a massive pre-start. I was very excited. Then went and stood behind the Armco, and the supercars were coming past me as close as Hal Ridge is right now. Hal Ridge, good to see you, mate. And I just thought mega, basically, which is probably is pretty much what you'd expect that I would think. I've never been here before to this track. Hal has. We've both commentated it before, but you've been here quite a lot of times. It looks completely different to how I kind of imagined it. I know that sounds silly, but you have an idea in your head. We always say it about when you watch on the telly. The track seems different. And it's great. It's a proper, traditional, old rallycross track.
And really compact, isn't it? So the way that where the start is in the middle, and then the circuit loops back around, so you cross the back of the start area, really tight together. And there's so much going on the whole lap. It's a wonderful, really old school venue.
I didn't even know. I didn't know what to film on my Instagram, which I can't upload, by the way, which I'm devastated about because it's just full of like gnarly burnouts and people coming past, nearly hitting the Armco. But basically, they go off the line that you can see right of your screen now, past the start-finish tower, if you like, round that long right-hander. Then they come over a jump towards you. You're standing there. They've just done a start. Then they jump towards you into a right-hander where they pop the curb, and then they come all the way out to the Armco, and you're stood behind the Armco going, somebody should have stopped me standing here, really, because it's such a good place to stand. And it was amazing. And I had a big smile on my face, and it reminded me how lucky I am to be involved in this brilliant sport. Myself and Hal have had an absolutely wonderful season of RallyX Nordic. I know you guys have been enjoying it at home. We appreciate every one of your messages. So if you want to get in touch, give us a shout on social media. You've got all the RallyX Nordic channels as well. Myself and Hal Ridge you can find on there too. Drop us questions. We'll see what we can get back to. We've got some guests who've just walked in. We'll get them in a minute. But in the meantime, we need to set you up for Superfinalen weekend with some standings. Crosscar Junior. Lucas Anderson leading from Alex Gustafsson. 130 points for Anderson, 125 for Gustafsson. Person is back there on 103. How many points up for grabs? How is it, 30? 30 this weekend. And this is with their lowest score deducted. So they're allowed to drop one round of the championship. You could miss a round or you could drop a round where you had a terrible weekend, but you can't miss this last round. So these points basically are as it stands. There's up to 30 available. Super close between Anderson and Gustafsson. On to open two-wheel drive, not quite so close here. Matthias Janssen is just about in reach of Simon Tiger. Simon Tiger you've seen all year long with the rotary powered BMW, having it. Matthias Janssen, was it Matthias that did both Swedish and Nordic? Yeah, Hollius, and then said he'd never ever do it again. So I don't. Has he entered Swedish this weekend? I haven't checked. We don't think so, but he double ran, because that's what the Superfinalen weekend is, because actually the Swedish Rallycross Championship ties up here this weekend as well. Marcus Norman you can see in P3, Morten B. Bertelsen is there, and Bertelsen's only 3 points back Lars England, so I think the last spot on the podium is probably up for grabs.
And there's an epic field of open two-wheel drive this weekend, isn't there? Really it's come into its own for the final round in that category, and I think it's a great indication as to what's to come for next year, and we're going to see some brilliant racing, not just in the points pretenders here.
Yeah, very much up for that. Going to see whether or not anyone can hand it to the top drivers. Now look at this. There was an incident. That's the evil chuckle of Hal Ridge in the background there. We're excited about this because Patrick Hallberg, Jimmy Osterberg and Isaac Rierson are all on 117 points. So somewhat disappointing for them. They could just discount the whole of the rest of the season. It's a one-weekend shootout for the title of RallyX Nordic Crosscar Champion. I can't wait. These guys have been so sendy all year long. We've got some more Lick the Stamp and Send It medals to hand out this weekend as well. I suspect we'll be handing some of those out to them. Roddles Bowdins has got quicker and quicker as time's gone by. Is Rainis here this weekend? No, Rainis Nitty's not joining us this weekend. That's a shame. But we've got a decent cross-car field, and it will be frantic and fantastic racing as always. Top of the table in Supercar Light, Tommy Howman. Basically champion-elect, as you can see from the points there, but because he has to start this weekend, you can't call him champion until he does, so he'll roll onto the grid in a minute, and I guess we'll announce it. Niels Andersen, P2, Linus Osten, Simon Olofsson, and Martin Enlander, your top five. It's going to be a good weekend of racing. We've got some new faces in that series as well. Supercar Johan Kristoffersson at his home circuit, Arvika. He lives just across the lake, and just across from him lives his super tall, super legendary dad, Tommy. So Johan up for the title this weekend. Niklas Gronholm is not here. He's not taking part, but Sondre Evjen and Fraser McConnell, separated just by 6 points, should overcome Niklas into P2 and P3 in the standings. So it'll be a decent fight between Evjen and McConnell for that second place. Kristoffersson is out of reach, basically, but again, has to start this weekend to be crowned champion. Now, we caught up with some of the drivers earlier on with a little wander around the paddock, so here's some interviews from earlier on today. And in terms of having the fans back, what does that mean to you? I mean, this is your hometown. It must be nice to see some people cheering. So it's been a strange 18 months, hasn't it, for the sport and for the fans too. It's great to see some people around the edge of this brilliant track.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's really nice to have some of the really familiar faces watching at the grandstand. So yeah, I'll just do my best to put a great show for them.
That's my first time here at this track. Talk us through what makes a good lap of it. Westernbanen? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it is actually a very, very technical track. So I think last corner is definitely very, very important. There is a lot of time to be gained in last corner, and then there is 2 jumps, which is quite. It doesn't look too harsh, but the landings are pretty harsh. So I think last corner is where you can gain most of the time, and it's very, very tricky to overtake.
Now, while you're probably going to wrap this up in qualifying, you're not a man who likes to not stand on the top step of the podium. So, you know, are we after a win here, and who do you think's key in trying to stop you doing that?
I think, yeah, that's for sure the target. We will try to do our best and fight for a top spot. And but I think there's going to be a very, very tough competition. And I think I would say it's like 6 guys maybe that can win this weekend. So, but yeah, let's see. I'll do my best.
Kevin Eriksson, final round of RallyX Nordic, and you're finally out of the analysis chair on the laptop and back in the driver's seat. But 2 years, I think, the gap.
It's been 2 years since my last race, really. So, of course, I've been in a car doing some development stuff on the Fiesta and for the Honda. But yeah, it's actually my first time racing the Honda, so it's a lot of new stuff going on, and we were working very hard. We got some people here and some people on the phone back home with computers. So we're really trying hard and get the car ready for the upcoming Nitro Rallycross season.
So you're going to be in Nitro Rallycross as well. 2 year gap. Now we're here. Then we go to Nitro. How are you feeling about being back competing? Is this a different Kevin than before, or the same one?
I mean, of course, I've been. I'm 2 years older, so I should be wiser. I hope. Flat out mechanics here, but yeah, I think I'm wiser. I learned a lot. Even though on your side you're working, a lot with the data. You see stuff. I watch almost every race possible. So I can, watch all the good guys, and I trust my speed. I'm here just because I need some racecraft before we go there.
Okay, and so I saw you on the phone just before talking through suspension stuff. You've obviously been out in free practice. We're talking to you now on what day is it? Friday morning. Yeah. What is it you want to get feeling different in the car?
I struggle a little bit with the rear. I want more grip in the rear, so we're working on that. Other than that, the Honda is a big car. You need to adapt slightly. I'm very used to drive Ford Fiestas. Has been my whole season or my whole career. So it's some changes I need to do, and I need to adapt the car after myself. So, and also a very, very technical track. So you need to find a good rhythm on the track and trust the braking very, very much. So yeah, I'm working on it, but it felt good. Not too bad on the first free practice. So it looked promising.
We're going for the win here.
I'm here to test and develop, but I'm a racer. Of course, I will do my best, but I will not take any risk. The cars are shipping on Tuesday, so we have 1 day re-prep. So yeah, I won't do anything stupid, but of course I will race my best.
We look forward to seeing that. Thanks, Kevin. Good luck, mate.
Thank you very much.
Sondre, final weekend of RallyX Nordic here with the Audi, and in a championship battle for P2 and P3 with Fraser McConnell. How are we feeling?
We're feeling good. We had a good test here in the summer, and yeah, we're looking at some smaller details now after practice, but it seems good.
Practice was good. You had a good feeling in the car. It's dry today. Has the track changed much in the 2 runs?
Just smaller things, but we're similar with Fraser on pace, and we're P2, so I think we're good. We just need to get it all together in the heats.
It's a slightly strange weekend. We've had really frantic double headers with a lot of racing every day, and now we come here, and because the Swedish National Series is here as well, we're spread over 3 days. So there's a lot of time to think and look at laptops. How are you going to deal with that?
Oh, luckily we have the bus here this weekend, so it's going to be a lot of sleeping, I think. But after a run, you're quite worn out. So when it's so long time, the adrenaline just drops dead. So I like it better when it's double headers. It's much better.
So for you then, a mixture of high adrenaline supercar driving and sleeping.
Yeah, this weekend will be like that. Yes.
Perfect. Thanks, Sondre. We wish you the best of luck, mate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fraser, last round of RallyX Nordic before you head across stateside for Nitro. You got some championship business to tie up here. It's you and Sondre in a tight fight for P2. What's the plan?
No, me and Sondre have been having really great fights the whole season, and it's going to come down to this last battle in Arvika. We've been having double headers the whole year, and this is going to be a single header spread out throughout 3 days. So we're going to have a lot of time to sit down and analyse, and in my opinion it's a little long in between. You want to always be in the car having fun. But no, it's been a great year of racing so far with Sondre and Johan and everyone involved, and I'm just looking forward to ending the year on a high note.
So you're aiming, we're gunning for P2 here, aren't we? I mean, all this extra time between the sessions, is that a good thing for you? Strike me as that you've been quite analytical this last year. You're going to have more time, or are you going to overthink it? What's going to happen?
Everything can happen. I mean, I always take half an hour to analyse, and until I feel comfortable, then I stop. I don't look at it anymore. It's easy to overthink. So once you feel comfortable, I just kick back easy, have a coffee, drink some water, and call back home, get some joke from them, and yeah, like I said, and you said, it's easy to overthink. So it's all about going there, having fun, and just trusting the instincts.
Going to a lot of people watching back home, I imagine, and hopefully they're going to be watching Nitro as well later on this year. You got a message for your fans at home?
No, man, big up everybody as usual. Everyone that came on board this year, Jamaica Tour Sports, Sandals, Barita, Rainforest, the whole works. Puma got me decked out in the fresh shoes, you see me? So we're doing the damn thing. Merch is coming out soon, so be there.
He's so good, isn't he? Very slick. Best of luck this weekend, mate.
Guys.
Fraser McConnell, eh? Still waiting on that Jamaican holiday after our little stunt we pulled in Hollius. We'll get there. It's a bit tricky at the minute, what with COVID and everything, but yeah, at some point it's got a little cross card. No, folk race track. A little folk race track now at Fraser's Place. Destination, definitely. I'm trying to get a round of a championship there at some point. We've had some brilliant action this season. Earlier on this year, though, we saw a massive crash, which we're going to take a look back at from Hollius, because Lars Anderson was involved in that. Here it is, with actually Fraser McConnell. So how they came through side by side in Velodrome, and Fraser was fully up the inside, and Lars came across, didn't he? Unfortunately, paid a high price.
Yeah, they just touched, broke a steering arm. I haven't spoken to Lars directly about why it stayed in the throttle for so long, but broke a steering arm, so I had no control over the car, and it veered off into the bank. That was a huge accident. And here we see Vigo's drone footage, which is just incredible, and it's just the slightest of touches, really. We see some pretty big contact in rallycross, don't we? But just at the wrong moment, it really changes the trajectory of the car. And but look, rips the entire front corner off the car with that initial impact in the bank there.
Yeah, so he went home. He sent us a message the following day to let us know that he was okay, but actually the recovery process was pretty long. He's back this weekend, trying to feel his way back into a supercar. I went and had a catch up with him earlier. Lars Anderson, you're back here at Arvika after a really big crash at Hollius. Everyone at home was worried about you. Talk us through the crash and tell us how you are.
Yeah, it was a huge crash in Hollius, but now I'm feeling good. I get a little dizzy after it. Feels quite okay now. So it takes 6 or 7 weeks until I get better. So now I didn't expect to drive anymore this year. So now I'm here in Arvika and trying to get as many laps I can. So
how does it feel to be back in the car after a big crash like that? Does it affect your confidence and your feeling with the car?
Very much. I feel that at the first practice I take it very slow and just get the speed up more and more. It feels better now after the second practice, so yeah, hope it's getting better until Q1. So.
And nice to be back in a supercar. They're so much fun to drive.
So much fun, so it's the best you can do. So I love it.
Excellent. Well, we wish you the best of luck. You may have just caught a slightly shocked look on my face because the door opened, a man came in, and it's pouring with rain outside. We've actually got a couple of guests with us who we'll have a chat with in a minute, but they also looked quite shocked at the weather situation. because we were looking at one of their weather apps earlier, and there was a 2% chance of rain. Well, it appears our numbers have come in. There it is. The umbrellas are up. There was a man earlier with a fold-up chair on his way in. I don't know if he's going to use it or not as some sort of headgear. That person's got a see-through umbrella, which is genius, because then you don't miss any of the rallycross action whilst you stay dry. This is the amazing Western Barn Circuit. Hal Ridge, the legend, is going to talk us through a lap.
Riding on board with Fraser McConnell off the start line in the middle of the venue here, and this really long right-hander takes a couple of turns in, few nips on the handbrake just to get the rear rotated towards the first jump, and it's a big landing through here. Watch the car bottom out, tight right-hander down to second gear, and then up onto the loose section, and this second jump, and that's critical to the lap. You carry so much momentum up this hill, 160 kilometers an hour, brake at the top of the hill, because going down the bank there's so much loose gravel and you've got to get to the apex on the inside. Now it's a short straight, but in this circuit it's not really a straight at all because the car's rotating so much. A tighter right-hander and then into the final corner. I think Fraser might be going to the Joker lap here. He does. So this is around the outside of the final corner. Really loose gravel. Look how much he gets the car rotated, but crucially in a straight line towards the first corner.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Hal Ridge. That last corner, Johan Kristoffersen was saying just how critical it is. That's on the inside. It's a super tight hairpin. It's a slightly wider gravel Joker in the last corner. It's a mega track. We're looking forward to it. Here are our guests. I don't know if you can guess what team they're from or not. It's Yellow Squad. We've got team boss Kevin Hansen, who won the first round of the World Rallycross Championship this year. Proper win, Kevin. Congratulations. And George McGuinness. Welcome, George, to the championship. Great to have you here. It was George who had a weather app that said there was a 2% chance of rain. George, what are you thinking about that?
I was slightly off.
Slightly off?
Few percent off.
Slightly off. Can we make sure the mics are live on our guests, please? We're just struggling to hear them a little bit here in the studio. We're going to go and look at some racing. We've got George and we've got Kevin with us who are going to help us out with some of that. So yeah, George, Kevin. Kevin, first of all, you're a bit more familiar with this circuit. It's rained. How's it going to change it?
Well, honestly, I've never driven here in the rain. I drove here in 2014 and 2015 with the RX2. So it was many years for me. But I mean, this is super tricky conditions. We will see the first race go off now, and it will be tricky to get the grip. I have no idea how the start line will be in this condition actually.
You've got Lidman, Anderson, Nilsson, Lundelander and Hallinan on the outside. Hallinan got a good start, but it is Lucas Anderson from P2 on the grid, who's the current championship leader, goes into turn one. Immediately, though, runs a bit wide. Now he's on the lock stops. Understeer, then oversteer. Beautifully, though, pulls it back just about to the apex. Half spin in the background. Hallinan into P2. Over the crest, though, Anderson holds on. Hal, that was one of those situations where you really weren't quite sure whether that was going well or badly, and to be fair, did a really good job just gathering it up and making the car turn in and close enough to the apex.
And as a driver, it's one of those situations where you've just got no idea. Like you say, we can't see whether it's good or bad from the outside. You don't know from the inside whether it's good or bad either. This is probably one of the trickiest points of any weekend when it starts to rain, because the track hasn't been wet at all for any of the running, and all of a sudden all of the oils and the moistures and the dust X from the loose is getting brought immediately to the surface by the rain. This is probably the most challenging that the wet conditions could be, because when it's full rain you know what to expect, and right now they're just feeling their way around. They've really got no idea what the grip levels are like. Fascinating in the corner of the commentary box here that Kevin Hansen
and George McGuinness are having a little chat. Now, funnily enough, this isn't a bad place for you to be, George, because at least you can see the whole track and get a feel for it, which you can't do anywhere else. So what are you thinking? Obviously this isn't maybe not what you would have wanted, but
it's definitely a lot wetter when I got in here, but I'm just looking for my race specifically on all the apex of all the tarmac corners to just really hit all the apexes, not slide at all, just be as efficient as possible, because if you get off the tarmac, especially in that corner there, you'll just get thrown right off as a passenger because there's no grip at all when it gets wet.
So we need to introduce you a little bit more to George. George is a 16-year-old American, although he's actually a British citizen as well. His dad is English, and his dad played for Newcastle Football Club, I believe, George?
Yeah, he did, for a couple of years, I think.
And your brother races as well. Tell us about your brother.
Yeah, my brother is, his name's Robert. He's 21. He races for Andretti and Indy Lights, as well as Vassar Sullivan in GTD in the IMSA series.
And your brother was slightly disappointed in you, wasn't he, when you heard out that you were going to the dark, good side of motorsport, rallycross?
Yeah, when after about the first week after I told him, he kept trying to persuade me and to go back to full circuit racing, and he kept bringing up these different arguments of why it was better. And it's just, but I tried both myself, and I found rallycross is much more fun to drive than racing.
There we go, Kevin Hansen smiling next to you.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, exactly, Kevin. That's it, isn't it? You know, the sports where you aim to go on the gravel are the best ones. Hal, what were you thinking?
Just what a remarkable job that Lucas Andersson's doing at the minute. Yet to Joker. The only driver yet to Joker, getting caught a tiny bit on the last lap by Eric Nielsen, but yeah, the conditions are just so difficult, aren't they? Especially as the leader, because you've got no idea. Kevin, you're watching the footage and chatting to George. What are you looking for specifically from what you're learning by seeing the track there?
Well, George has never driven in the rain with this car, so for sure, basically just running through what is good to keep in mind. But this track specifically, you can see it's a lot of rubber laid down. We have so many cars driving here this weekend, so you can see he's struggling for grip there in the front and just can't get the power down. And I think that's quite a lot what we will see on this track in the wet. It's so much rubber there, and the track is so old, so the tarmac has been polished incredibly much. So it's nothing for the tire to get into. So it's super important, to catch the corner like George was saying.
Nothing for it to bite, so there's
Exactly.
no roughness to the surface.
Exactly.
It was interesting watching him in turn one. Really, really impressive car control. You can see him. It's almost that horrible situation where you're almost on the limit and spinning. He's going to come into the Joker lap now on the final lap. Here we go.
This could be close.
Got to try and find the traction. Should edge it, I think, around the outside line.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really nicely done. And great job on the inside as well from Nielsen. Nielsen did the right thing trying to cover him off, run the car wide, but he didn't have enough grip to be able to shut the door either.
That's all you can do. It's super tricky in this, because the incredible thing about this track is that when you come from the Joker, you have full control of where the other car is, because you see it so early on, and you can plan, if it's going to be a tight merge, where should you go?
Left or right?
Yes, this is a beautiful thing about this Joker lap on this track.
This is another look at the starts. Have a look here at Andersson, who comes from slot number 2 into turn 1. And if you watch him into turn 1, first of all, it's full understeer. I don't know if we're going to see it. And then it switches to sort of full oversteer mid-corner. And actually, that was the attitude he then took through that corner on nearly every lap, just getting the car rotated. I wonder if you might see it. Here we go, look. He runs the car wide, catches it immediately. Now, just a little feather on the throttle to keep it rotating. And actually,
beautiful control.
Yeah, really good, Kevin. Okay, he misses the apex by 2 feet, but that's his first wet
lap. But these are junior drivers. These are very young, and that car control we saw from him there, I mean, that's really impressive.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really good. Did you do cross car?
Yeah, I've done a race last year in Newsom, and we're developing the TM5 all the time, and it's very different.
It's competitive,
it's
isn't it, mate?
Very competitive, and this driver is a very special style you need to do when you drive cross cars, and these guys are very talented.
4:17.078 is the time of Lucas Andersson, and I don't think he's going to be disappointed with that. Okay, so George, would you have preferred it to stay dry? I guess you would, but also, I mean, you don't look like a guy who's phased too easily. You're just going to get out there and send it, I guess.
Yeah, as Kevin said, I've never driven this car in the wet ever, not even damp conditions. So this is going to be a whole new world for me. But I think I'm starting in the middle of the grid for my race, so I'm just going to go out there and send it into turn 1 and
get amongst it.
Yeah, just try
this
and
is what I love
out.
about him. He's 16 years old. It's his first rallycross race proper, and he's just like, I'm going to send it into turn 1. I mean, he's more crazy than I am.
Kevin will be ready on the tools if it's needed. George will be hoping for a whole shot, no contact, and job done. That's what these guys are hoping for too. Jonathan Yilalami, Pontus Oskarsson, Alex Gustafsson, Rasmus Persson, Josefin Holmqvist on the outside. Brilliant start in the middle of the grid from Alex Gustafsson, who is in that championship fight with Lucas Andersson, who's just gone on to win the first race. Or Yilalami, a little bit too sideways, going to run the car deep, loses a position though. Into the inside line is Alex Gustafsson in the 199. Yilalami gets great traction on the exit there and closes the gap down on Alex Gustafsson. But Gustafsson lead just underneath your picture there. Look at that, there's just no grip at all, Hal.
No, and of all the junior drivers, anyone that's going to know their way around here, it's Alex. He won here last year, didn't he? Won the championship in the last round of cider in Nissum. Local lad to Arvika, part of the Western Motor Club. So, they have this track open on a Wednesday, so you can come in and test here. at various points during the year, so he'll have done a lot of laps around here, and that's critical, isn't it? Because, you know, on a wet day when you're at home and you think maybe can't be bothered to go driving today, those are the days where you really learn by driving in the wet, and I think someone with Alex's experience will be really important today. Having said that, Juha from Finland is all over the back of him on the first lap in Jokers.
Juha got that thing though, hasn't he, where it's an indicator, and George might get this if he loses the start, is if you've got a car in front, at least you have an indicator of the grip. And so of course it's difficult to outbrake somebody. It's nowhere near as difficult to outbrake somebody in the wet who's feeling the grip and you're chasing them down. Spinner in the background. So Juha come out in P3. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's too bad to be following people in wet conditions. I think that's not the end of the world.
As long as the visibility's okay, you can learn a lot, can't you? Especially on the opening lap.
Yeah, the person you're following is any good.
Well,
don't follow me. Don't ever, you know. I had a whole shot in terrible conditions before. They didn't have to follow me for too long.
I saw.
Wasn't my fault. I just wasn't anticipating the brake bars to be 100% to the front.
Excuses.
Yeah, I know, Kevin. I've learned them all from you guys. 7 years in the World Championship. I've heard every excuse in the book. Yeah, exactly. All of them. Yeah, 100% front brake bar, straight on the loose. Great whole shot though. Mint first corner. I looked awesome. What I'm going to do is just upload
photos.
Great photos, and I'll probably upload the onboard through turn 1 where I got this amazing whole shot, brilliant start. But then I'll stop it before I go off. What do you think?
Sounds great.
That's the sort of thing we do, isn't it? Kevin, what will your advice to George be in terms of following other people?
Well, I think it's tricky because on this track we don't see crazy much dirt, and it's very different. If it's raining, it clears the windscreen a lot easier than if it's stopped, because then it will get greasy. And also if we see it stop raining, then we will see the track getting slower and slower because there's nothing to clean the mud away from the tarmac, and it will just be grease everywhere.
Okay, but if he's behind somebody quick, not the end of the world.
Well, he will not be. He will be first.
Yes, you see, that's the confidence you're looking for. Hal, sorry, mate, I interrupted you. Were looking at something.
No problem at all. Still raining. We haven't got the door open of the studio at the moment, so we can't see quite how hard it is raining. I can't really tell on the screen, but it looks a bit wetter. Gustafsson did exactly what Kevin was talking about on the Joker exit when he jokered last time around.
Caller's opening the door for us. It's still raining. There we go. It's drizzle now. We would call that in the UK.
International sign language of a wobbly hand means
a bit wet.
Mixed.
Oh, nicely done on the exit. Juha losing out there at the Joker merge. More again, sideways. Look at that, balancing the throttle to make sure the car stays rotated, but it's tight in behind. Persson here has got great pace. Persson trying to pile the pressure on Gustafsson. Gustafsson will want to hold on. Time to beat bottom left.
So Persson passed Gustafsson right here last time around. He's going to do it again, isn't he? Gets great drive out of that corner, and that's quite a big rise in the road, isn't it? Over the loose, and whereas the supercars and the lights are all taking a lift or a brake before the crest, the junior cars are absolutely flat over the top of it. So presumably Alex has got some sort of problem to drive out of that right hand.
But it can be settings too. You know, these guys were in the pre-grid in dry conditions and potentially have gone out. Kevin, you know, is this looking... I mean, obviously Persson's got more traction, but it might just be that Persson likes to soft the car and therefore when it's rained he's not been so badly affected, and Persson's gone round now, just as we've said that. I think we're going to see Gustafsson come round the final corner and take it. Time to beat 4:17. He's not going to get that. Hasn't quite got enough exit speed. Juha will get P2. But yeah, what do you think of seeing that, Kevin? Like the traction Persson had was insane.
Yeah, it's really good. And you know, this car doesn't have any rear differential, so it's fully locked. The same speed on the right and left corner of the car. So I mean, you cannot slide. Then you're just losing a lot of grip. And if you get it straight on, like he did there when he overtook, he had a great speed. He got the power down, and it was beautiful.
Nicely done. Great analysis from Kevin Hansen. We'd expect that. One of the World Championships finalists. We're lucky to have him here in the commentary box with his new driver, George McGuinness, who's going to be heading out in lights in a little while. We're hoping the guys are going to stick around for a while. We've got 4 open two-wheel drive races, 3 cross car, but I know they will want to go and do some stuff on the car as well. So stick around as long as you can.
I got Eric Farron to do stuff on the car.
You've been messaging Eric already.
I have.
So what? Obviously, do you know what? I don't think anyone in the paddock will be watching. What sort of things might you do in these conditions?
I will not tell you. People can look in replay. No, but I mean, obviously, everybody's gonna try to get some more grip in the cars. It's less speed, so you have less forces when you're braking and throttling. So everybody's gonna try to get more movement in the car. It's very, very difficult. Nobody have had a lap on the rain tires here. You're just gonna have to take a guess and see how it is. But also the driving, how people will just adapt to this track condition will be super crucial. I think even more than what setup you have. And this is we will see a lot in the lower classes, and the higher you go, it will be less and less differences. But it's super important to get your driving dialed in perfectly ahead of a big condition change like this.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Kevin Hansen. Much appreciated. It is Lucas Anderson who wins Q1 of Junior Cross Car with 4:17.078. He is the championship leader by just 5 points from Alex Gustafsson. Remember, they'll get championship points from qualifying and then again from the semis and the finals. We move on to open two-wheel drive. Open two-wheel drive actually means you could run a front-wheel drive. I think we did see one somewhere, but most of these cars are rear-wheel drive, even if they're front-wheel drive on the road. Morten B. Bertelsen, Matthias Jansen, Simon Tiger and Roland Larsamo. Let's have a little look and see where everybody is. Simon Tiger leads the standings by 29 points from Matthias Jansen, so the two top championship drivers are in this. Trying to see Marcus Norman is going in Heat 2. Tiger hasn't had the best starts in the wet this year. Once he gets traction, he seems to be able to drive past everyone in that incredible rotary power BMW. But again, it's Jansen who's done this to Simon Tiger all year long in damp conditions. Matthias Jansen off the line just has incredible traction in what can only be described as a boat of a car. It's absolutely massive. And yet still it's there. Now Tiger will try and close this down. How we've seen good wet form, haven't we, from Matthias all year long?
We have, yeah, especially in the opening weekend, and at Julius, it was quite a bit at Julius as well, wasn't it, for a day. Simon Tiger, actually, the reason for his bad starts earlier in the year was he comes from quite far north in Sweden, and they still had snow, and he wasn't able to do any start testing. You'd have thought that it might be better when the conditions are worse, and they could have done some start testing in low mood situations, but yeah, starts haven't been his forte, which has been brilliant for us because it's produced some great racing, as we saw with him and the Datsun Finn in Oulu for a couple of rounds in Finland just 2 months ago.
Yeah, Venner line than that wasn't it? Kevin, I was noticed there, Matthias Jansen took a very different line on the brakes coming down the hill. He came off what you would call the broken gravel and went onto the slightly fresher stuff. Defensive line or looking for grip?
Oh, difficult to say. I mean, if he thought there is some stiffer and nicer gravel there to catch, I think that's good to try. But you know, these rain tires work a bit like a gravel tire. There's more cuts to get grip from. So on the gravel, actually, I know when we were driving in Spa in the World Championship, on the gravel tire or on the rain tire, it was almost impossible because we had so much more grip to get through the corner. So we had to use the slicks. But here, you see, there's still a lot of grip on the braking there on the fresh bits, and here you can see it's breaking up when everybody's going on power. Very, very different conditions around the track at the moment.
Getting the car straight early and then being able to get on the gas is certainly working for it at the minute. I wonder if Tiger might go for an alternate strategy and try and chuck it in the Joker, but seems happy to follow him at the minute.
And as it stopped to rain as much, we can see also, you know, it's more difficult to get a clean front screen. It's very impressive that Tiger stays so close to him at the moment with that so much mud coming on the screen and not cleaning away as easily.
You really don't want it to go greasy, do you? That horrible condition between wet and dry for me is just the worst.
It's really, really tricky, and especially now maybe he's looking up the inside.
Yes, he's going to have a look right past, tries to squeeze through over the crest, over the contact.
Brilliant.
Shuts the door, maybe didn't know he was there, did he? And now he tries around the outside. Simon Tiger over the crest will put him on the inside line. Swaps back out. Jansen goes defensive again on the brakes. Tiger now is really piling the pressure on. Straightens the car up early. Simon Tiger now has found some traction. Goes up the inside again on the brakes. Jansen tries to shut the door. Hooks a wheel across the curbs onto the grass on the inside line. Might find some traction there. 2 laps to go. Jansen splits off the Joker at the last moment. I reckon that might have cost him more time than it would have done. And as Tiger wasn't going, maybe Howley should have just stayed out.
Trying to second guess the strategy all the time, isn't it? That's what is so wonderful about Rallycross and the Joker Lap. It brings so much into it. You know, Kevin Hansen won in Barcelona a couple of weeks ago with some amazing strategy from the Hansen team, with being able to use both Timmy and Kevin together as teammates to work together. When you don't have that option, when you're out there on your own, you're just trying to second guess what the other guy's going to do, aren't you? And you can only assume that Jansen was hoping that Tiger would follow him into the Joker, because that's what you would Joker. You have to mix up the strategy. There is no point As the guy behind following in.
Yeah, you don't going to win if you both take the same strategy.
He's been pushing super hard on this lap. Let's see if it's enough. Huh?
Yeah, he has, Kevin, hasn't he? Up towards the top of the hill. He was almost in the bushes, wasn't he?
100% commitment. This is a very important Joker lap for him.
Right, Tiger into the Joker lap now. Janssen on the inside line. This is going to be about who gets enough traction. Simon Tiger's gone wide. Needed to use that as a berm. Janssen's going to straighten up. Tiger's going to boost in for the line. All the power, all the lock stops. Not quite enough. Janssen takes it. And that is why we like open two-wheel drive.
Janssen's also taken, sorry, not Janssen, Tiger's taken a warning for pushing when he was trying to get past. Might see some of that in the replays.
What did you think? I don't know that you would have known he was there, Kevin.
It was a risky move, yeah, up the inside in after the second small jump. But
would you have done it?
Yes, but I would have put it off.
See, now, we need to dispel a bit of a myth here, yeah? They're Hansons. They're a lovely family. Kevin and Timmy, they're both really nice. They are two of the hardest racers I've ever met in my entire life. And that's a good thing.
Well, we got it from my father, you know.
Do you think so?
He's 100% Harry's not, also, yeah, he's super nice guy on the side, but he's the most fierce racer I know when he gets the helmet on. It's really incredible.
You boys are both the same, and we want that.
Yeah, I got the speed from my mum, though, but race head from my dad.
Speed from your mum, race head from your dad. And spotting skills from Graham Roadmark,
yes,
who I'm sure is hopefully watching this back at home. If you're not Graham...
No, absolutely not a chance.
You don't think so?
Under the bonnet of a transit or something.
Yes, 100%.
in the workshop. In the workshop. Isn't the house next to the workshop now? That's a terrible mistake, isn't it? You know, I mean, Kevin, you don't live too close to the workshop, do you?
No, I have about 20 minutes to the workshop. Just try to keep
that's enough, isn't it?
But you know, when in the past, when I lived with my first house, then it was we had the workshop at the same yard. So Kenneth was always down in the workshop from early morning to late in the evening, working on the cars with the mechanics, and Susan was up doing all the other, social media and marketing and finances for the company. You know, it was really an amazing, time that I had.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Wonderful stuff. Simon Tiger there trying to do a Nitro Rallycross or a Spa Rallycross berm around the outside of the Joker lab. Unfortunately, it's not built up quite high enough to carry the speed through. Janssen gets a 3:46.4. So 3:46.4 for him. Listen to the different tick overs on these cars. They just sound mega, don't they?
Hal, what type of engine is it in the Mazda?
Is it the rotary?
It is a rotary engine, yeah.
Do you know how that is built up for? It's very special, yeah?
During practice this morning, the noise was just absolutely brilliant in the pre-grid. And you can hear it now.
That's
Norman.
one, isn't it?
Marcus Norman in P2 on the grid. Inside, Stefan Christensen. Outside, Michael Persson and Urban Bergström. And that's a rotary engine on the limiter, but not generating a huge amount of grip. And it's Stefan Christensen on the inside. Is that the nice Mark III Escort that we saw in Denmark at the end of last year? It is, isn't it? Yeah. Really nicely built, that car.
I think there's been a problem with the start, isn't there?
Oh dear. So that's been, is that a red flag restart? Well, you can't leave them there, can you? They're kind of off the track. You could have left them there, couldn't you?
But they didn't move, did they? So
unlucky.
Could be some misunderstanding on the grid.
You think they didn't see the...
We don't know. We'll see what's happening. It looks like a restart, so...
Yeah, we get to hear the rotor engine again doing the start, so it's just a win-win.
Yeah, George is a rallycross man already, isn't he? 16 years old, he's into his rotary engines already.
When he got there yesterday, he was like, give me 5 minutes, I need to look at cars.
Okay.
We just went around.
But we want to look at the data, George. Bore off, Kevin. I'm going to look at some engines and some Volvos.
100%.
Mate, George, what have you thought of the stuff in the paddock? Because with the Swedish national stuff here as well, with the greatest respect to the guys, there's every level from, factory team like you're with, effectively, down to really home-built rallycross cars. And I love, I love that spectrum of competitor that we see here.
Yeah, there's some really great cars here, like the M3 E30 BMW that I think Omen's running.
Yeah.
I love that car so much. And all of these cars, whether, as you said, they're built in a proper workshop or a factory or just built in a garden, you can really tell the amount of passion and love that's gone into each one of them, because all of them, when they arrived at least, were spotlessly clean and just ready to go. I'm so excited to be here and just not both to drive and to look at all these amazing rallycross cars.
Oh, that's so great to hear. It's such a big part of the sport, and I think that's something which we're hoping will grow in America. Obviously, you guys need more permanent rallycross tracks, which is hopefully going to come with with Nitro, and you know what? We probably need some more entry-level rallycross over there as well. You're so lucky up here in Scandinavia, Kevin. You know, Bill Cross, Folk Race, all the different entry-level categories. It's just amazing.
Yeah, we have everything down to Folk Race. You know, you can get a car for only 800 euros and race like crazy. So, I mean, that's the amazing thing about Sweden and the passion we have for rallycross here. But, I mean, George is going to drive for us in Nitro, and it's, you know, the tracks are building up over there too, and I think the sport has a great potential over there with Nitro. So I think, you know, it's going to be a really exciting end of the year. See if we can grow the sport even more with 5 events.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Kevin Hansen, hopefully going to be over there as well.
Yes, I am. Full season.
Exactly. So that's the is that slippery surface board, or was it a joker?
Double joker
penalty. So it was a jump start then. Okay. So that's why we're having a restart.
When I was very, very young, he was still in the top category in this class racing. So he's one of my idols. He's
really?
amazing. Yeah. He's a really, really passionate guy, and he's very special also. That's the great thing.
He looks to me like he's also arguing the toss about the second joker.
That's just how he is. Like,
he really?
He will not agree. It's a bit of a vibe of Periclin also in him, so that's really cool.
That's brilliant. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's been doing, Urban Bergstrom's been doing the top class in Super National 2.4 litre for decades.
How
he used to come to Croft when at the end of the season and just Volvos are normal in rallycross here. We never saw that in the UK. When I was a teenager, they used to come over and just send it, as you would say, around Croft. It was completely mad.
I'm having problems here. I think I want to be Swedish.
You're welcome to come here.
Really? Can I be an
situation in the UK is better to come here.
Honorary Swede.
Yes.
See, like they've got a rallycross track.
We can adapt you, you know.
Yeah,
Adopt you.
I'll have to have coffee though, won't I? Not good with coffee, Kevin. I'm very annoying without
but you can have a Red Bull instead. You know.
Oh my God! Imagine me with that. I would be a nightmare with a Red Bull.
Look,
Could you
the team boss is here. What is he doing there? He should, you know, fix the car.
He has people for that.
Yeah, he also has.
I always quite like it when people film with an iPad with a case on it. It seems a little bit excessive, but there's something about it I quite like. At least you can watch it back straight away. There's Eric Farren, look. Whoa, shouldn't he be in the tent, Kevin?
That's what I just said.
Yeah, but like, get it, go message him now, ring him, call him. Go on, give him a call now. Call him now. We'll see if he answers.
Great.
Let's see if Eric Farren answers the phone. Kevin's going to get his phone now. We're going to call him now, and let's see if Eric answers or not. Right, we need to go back to Eric in the stand in a minute. And let's see. Right, let's ring him. You're going to tell him to go straight back. We'll make him.
I'm calling now. You're on TV, and we're filming you. Shouldn't you be? You should be doing the setup changes.
Oh no! You should be doing the setup changes.
And you just hung up on me.
now we know who the boss is.
He's not getting erased, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's. He's like, I got time, Kevin.
That smile when we swap the camera back on him, that's the best thing I've ever seen.
I love Eric.
Meme, 100%.
Eric he's one of the funniest guys in the paddock. He will totally get it. But he's also very good at what he does. Sebastian Loeb, spotter. Who will spot for George?
It's Eric. Yes, a lot of experience. So I mean, we couldn't ask for any better spotter to have than Eric for him. And I mean, Eric also does a lot of technical work for us in the World Championship. He's just a very good all-arounder and a brilliant team manager.
He's such a lovely bloke. Yes. He's been co-commentating with me before. He's a multi-talented guy. Also a very, very good driver, of course. Made the semi-final. Did he make the final at Hollius one year in Supercar?
He was semi-finals, and he was P5 in one of the qualies. So he's a very, very talented driver too, and that just makes everything better to work on the development and the setups on the car too, when he has a great understanding of it.
Side by side through turn one. Lost a place there. I think it was Stefan Christensen who wasn't made the pass. Is it Urban Bergstrom who's managed to get the whole shot?
It is, yeah. I wouldn't have expected any less, to be honest.
But what happened with the argument? This is nobody actually knows whether or not we'll have to see whether he does two jokers or not. Because
I'm sure he won the argument.
We need Kevin to come and join us more often in the comments box with this font of knowledge. Listen to that down the back. Hal, I thought what was really interesting with Simon Tiger is you could see on each lap more confidence in the level of grip that there was, starting to push more and more, and I think we're going to see that as well now. Well, if conditions don't change too much. Marcus Norman goes joker. We want to try and get the traction and get out in front. Going to try and go around the outside line. and 2 sideways on the inside means that that's actually easy. So, okay, good move by Norman. Now Norman's got a feel for that grip, nail a couple of good laps and try and make the overlap. Spin in the background.
Christensen spun in at the exit of the first corner. Critically, though, Bergstrom has got to do 2 joker laps. It's just popped up on the timing screen. So this really is between Marcus Norman and Bergstrom. And if Bergstrom can gap Norman enough to be able to joker twice and still get out in front.
If you look at Norman, lost out at the start, got moved wide in turn 2, ran out wide, then went joker, and now he's had a spin in front of him from the guy who took him in turn 1, and Bergstrom got 2 jokers. So, I mean, it's actually worked out all right. Yeah, sinking feeling in turn 2, and now it's like, this might be on. Bergstrom goes for joker number 1. How far back? I'll tell you what, though.
So patient on the throttle. You can hear him just fevering the throttle rather than getting hard. He's getting the rear rotated.
I think he's got enough. I think he's going to have it to Kevin. He's got enough for a second one,
he does, and he has huge experience, you know, to just go out there and have a great run. He has so much experience to get on these conditions for the first time, and you see he has a good eye for it. You know, he sees where he needs to be, taking a lot of curveballs, so we can see.
Straight line, though, isn't it? Really straight line on the brakes. Okay, you're
very beautiful driving.
Yeah. George, what are you thinking, mate? How's it going?
Honestly, if I was Bergstrom, I'd be driving a little bit angry because of the double joker. So he's clearly using that anger as fuel to go as fast as possible.
George is going to make a great rallycross driver, isn't he? I've not even seen him drive yet, and he's just saying all the right things, Kevin. How much training have you done?
We were flat out for weeks, you know, but you know, the talent he has is incredible, and we've worked together. We have had a lot of test days last weeks, and you can see he has a rallycross heart, which is good.
Brilliant. Bergstrom takes 2 jokers, crosses the line, got another lap to go, but in the lead. Absolutely fantastic. In what we would call an estate car. What would you guys call it? A car with the whole rear end on it, you know, like
a combi.
A combi.
Yeah.
That's a combi for you
That's
guys.
a combi, yeah.
George, what is it for you guys?
I would say that's a wagon.
Station wagon.
Yeah, station wagon.
I love it. I love it. Station wagon's actually the better of those things. Combi, for me, that's like a camper van type thing.
Well, it's almost as big as one. You can fit a family of 4 in the back there.
Hal? Good stuff.
Absolutely flying Bergstrom, isn't he? 1.3 seconds quicker on ultimate lap time than Simon Tiger. We know his pace, don't we? So this is just building to be really close at the front all weekend, isn't it?
Time to beat, look, he's at the bottom of the screen.
I think he's going to do it.
Yeah, I think he's going to beat him with 2 jokers. Look at the speed he carries through the corner, perfect, not too much lock, and actually nails it by 5 seconds. He's gone 5 seconds quicker with a double joker. Urban Bergstrom, you legend.
Could we see a turning point in the track condition here? I mean, 5 seconds is a lot, and he has experience, that's for sure, but that's huge
that's
with double
more than
joker.
Experience, isn't it? That's absolutely...
We could see the track starting to dry up here. There's a lot of wet spots, but maybe it's starting to go the other direction.
We better call Eric Farren again.
Yes. Eric!
Get back to the
change the setup again!
It's gone the other way. it's like some sort of soap opera here between Kevin and Eric. There's the spin, look.
Yeah, he just went a bit wide there, I think, and lost the rear grip.
Ran out of lock. You could see right on the lock stops. There's nothing worse is there than when you just want 2 degrees more steering and you're desperately pushing for it, but you're up against the lock stops and you know it's going round. Bergstrom with the estate car, the combi, the station wagon, whatever you want to call it. Bergstrom goes quickest, 3:41.3. So that is 5 seconds faster than Matthias Janssen went in the first race. There was quite a big delay with the restart. So the weather is 10 minutes different, and that sounds a strange thing to say, but okay, this is a new one for me. On pole, Crazy Mike. Anybody know who Crazy Mike is?
No.
Oh, but if
no idea.
That's the name. So I assume that's his name on his license. If he's down as Crazy Mike, anyone? Yes, that's the little. Is that the Yaris?
It is.
That's the little. Yeah, so that's got to be front-wheel drive.
That's super low and front-wheel drive, and for me, I have no idea. But I thought I heard a turbo sound there on the track earlier on practice from that car. So I think it could be quite a special build.
I wonder what Crazy Mike can do in these conditions. Kevin.
It's yellow. Should be fast.
Yeah. Crazy Mike might be about to get signed up for Yellow Squad alongside George McGuinness. If there's a signing to be made, Emil Oman next to Crazy Mike, then Frederick Tiger and Michael Janssen. Crazy Mike's got a bit of wheel spin off the line, going to end up P3. That's where the rear-wheel drives just sit down that little bit, and that helps to find a bit of traction. But I guess we'll see the difference between front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive now, and you can see the difference in driving style and the way through we went through turn one. We just haven't seen any front-wheel drives really in this house successfully so far.
No, in the UK, in the Super National class, Super Modified as it was historically, and now Super National, you see a lot of front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive cars competing together, and there's always an offset where the rear-wheel drive will always make a better launch, but the front-wheel drive can have ultimate better pace and on a lap time, and it's that offset, whereas you don't really see that in Scandinavia. They generally go for the rear-wheel drive approach, and I think that's quite indicative of how the circuits are. Loose gravel, really technical tracks like this. There's a moment to think about what you're doing here, isn't there? Because there's so much going on. There's no straights to speak of. So I think, you're right, we don't.
Kevin, they're almost stopping the car at the apex in that hairpin. I've seen the supercars doing a similar thing where you almost come to a standstill but get all four wheels facing straight. What Johan said in his interview earlier, the last corner's key. Wet or dry, why and how?
Because it's so tight and so slow, and if you get it, it's a long braking, a very, very tight one, and it kind of is open in the beginning and tightening more, so it's very, very difficult to get that right. And I can understand that Johan is an expert on this track. It's his home track, and there's also a few other places he has said to me that is key, but that last corner for sure is one of those that is super, super important to get late braking and get the car rotator or just smooth around. Emil Öhman actually drove a Citroen for us back in the days, supercar experience, and he's also a world champion in snowmobile cross. So he's a really, really talented guy and one of the nicest.
He's not scared, is he?
No, he's not.
I never thought he got a fair crack at supercar with the Citroen. He had moments of great pace, didn't he? And it just never quite clicked, and then he had his reasons for stopping. But I think he had much more potential than we saw.
Yeah. I mean, we saw great potential in him, and we actually, I believe, tried to get him a full-time drive in the European Championship with us for a while, but we just couldn't make it work. I mean, he has a huge potential, and we can also see here he's taking the lead and driving super, super well and clean. I think this is going to be a great time.
Is the track condition changing? Go on, George, hit us up.
It's definitely stopped raining because he's just turned his windshield wiper off. Like, I just saw it happen.
George has got some detail going on here. He's impressive, isn't he? There's shades of Hansen, Ekstrom, Kristoffersen, isn't there? The detail that makes the difference. There's shades of that with George.
Yeah, I think he has lived rallycross for quite a while now. We were so excited to come join us, and we are so excited to have him. I mean, a rallycross passionate guy, and when you have eye for details like that, it's going to be a great time.
You guys won lights here last year, didn't you, with Henrik Krogstad?
Yes, we had a really breakthrough time here last year, and we won. I think it was a clean sweep with Henrik, and we also have that great potential here with yours, that you look at his data and compare, and this is super great for us to have that great result last year.
Will Yellow Squad operate both sides of the Atlantic, or will you just be American? Like, what's we're going to look at the time and see 3:40 where the track's definitely getting faster, I would suggest. 3:37, I reckon that was. Yeah, it was 3:37.7. Kevin, where will you guys be operating, do you think?
We from this point now when Nordic is finished, we will mainly be operating in the States with George, and we were sending his car over on Tuesday and sticking it there for the rest of the year. We have a lot of guys coming over to make the program happen, and he will run with us all the year together with the supercar on all the events. And I think that is also for us to have both teams close together and taking advantage of each other's data during the weekends. Also in Nitro, I think that is a huge plus for us to have. We haven't had that before in our program, so it's going to be really exciting.
Emil Öhman takes it 3:37.7 to go fastest. He's some 9 seconds quicker than Matthias Janssen went in the first race of the session. So the track is definitely getting a little bit quicker. We've got one race left to go in open two-wheel drive, and then we're going to get on to cross car, which is going to be very interesting indeed in these conditions because those guys are mega sideways anyway. George McGuinness, Kevin Hansen in the studio with myself, Andrew Coley, and Hal Ridge. We're having a great time here for RallyX Nordic. Remember, we're on all weekend. It's just Q1 today. Tomorrow's Q2 and Q3. Then we've got Q4 semis and finals to crown champions in all classes on Sunday. I think it does look like it stopped raining. You guys are going to have to go. Kevin, So what are you thinking? Come on, give us what's the thought process now? What are you going to be saying to George, and then we'll talk to George after.
Yeah, I mean, this is drying up quickly. We're gonna see. We're gonna have to take an active decision on what to do in both setup and let's see how quick it dries up. It could be, in a few runs, it could be dry tires even. So
I was going to say, where are we with tyres now? Because it's pretty borderline, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tricky to see on the TV for me, but I will go out and have a look. And unfortunately, you guys will not get to know our decision.
So I'll tell you what, send us a message when he's on the line.
Yes, I will do that. 100%.
George, what are you thinking as we see the cars off the line? On the inside line, it's Thomas Owen who got the best start but loses out slightly in turn 1, and he's going to lose out a lot more as he spins all the way around, ends up backwards in the first corner. Not suboptimal. That was side by side. Now a little bit of contact over the crest. George, we're going to be talking about you doing this in about half an hour's time, so what are you thinking?
I was about to say there's definitely more grip out there, and someone just proved me wrong. Before I forget, though, that Porsche from the last heat was amazing.
Indeed, I know, it's so good. Side-by-side contact again. There is not much quarter being given here. Going to look to try and pass on the inside line. It's Joachim Evertsen. Doing a good job of holding off behind. It's Linus Westman. But yeah, a fair bit of contact side by side at least. Yeah, we've had a couple of Porsches. We've got a 911. Who's it that normally runs the 911 now?
I think he's not here this weekend.
Yeah, he's not, is he? It'll be on my stats.
Lars England,
yeah. So okay, some people have decided not to come here. But yeah, you up for a bit of Porsche action?
Oh yeah, I love a good Porsche.
Yeah, you see, George is a legend, isn't he already? Look, we need to let you go.
Kevin's like, stop looking at the international cars, we need to go.
George basically, other than when he's driving, he'd quite happy to go outside and just join Kevin in the pre-grid, because he's just having a great time looking at cars here in Sweden. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you've got any time later in the weekend, we'd love to see you again. And George, we wish you the best of luck with your Rallycross debut. Get out there and send it and enjoy it, most importantly.
Oh, I absolutely will. Thank you so much for having us.
Not at all.
Thank you guys.
Cheers, Kevin.
Cheers.
See you later. Well done, guys. Brilliant. Kevin Hansen, winner of round 1 of the FA World Rallycross Championship just a couple of weeks ago. And his new yellow squad signing, George McGuinness from the US of A, who's going to be doing NRX next this year. The support category to Nitro Rallycross with the yellow squad, and hoping for a decent debut here, Hal. He's into it, isn't he?
He is very into it. Linus Westman, brilliant drive off the Joker. That's exactly what Kevin Hansen was talking about. You can pick your line. It's so similar to the Barcelona Joker merge in some ways, isn't it? Where you carry that extra momentum and you can go inside or outside. Linus Westman on an absolute mission this weekend to win. He's here doing. This is his only event of the year. They can't afford to run the Supercar. I remember he finished second here last year, didn't he? In the Fiesta Supercar, and he's in the black machine that we're seeing now. And he's borrowed the car with one objective:
wants to win. Only wants to be on the top step of the podium. Evertsen at the moment is in the way of his fastest time, but Evertsen's going to have to go Joker now. Time to beat 3:37. And actually, that's gone. Oh no, sorry, we've got another lap to go. So 2 laps to go. My bad, Evertsen. Look at Evertsen straight though with the exit speed, and there you can see exactly what Hal was talking about a moment ago. Whether or not you can get that overlap done on the exit. And Evertsen, you can hear the car spooling up, but he's just about got it right. And on the inside line, Westman's tried to hold him off and has gone slightly too sideways.
He was just trying to be patient enough on the throttle to be able to run wide, but also needs the momentum and then get. These conditions in rear-wheel drive are so tough, aren't they?
You know what was going on in the mirrors right there? He's looking at all 3 mirrors, going no, yes, no, yeah, no, yes, and then just a little bit too sideways. And damn it, he's gone past. Yeah, great stuff. I wonder what we're going to see. I'm checking the weather. Hal, cover me.
I don't think we know the weather apps aren't accurate, so I think you're wasting your time. To be honest.
Yeah, but I like it.
Okay.
80% chance at 3 p.m. And then
Westman's going to have a little bit of a look on the inside of Evertsen going into the final corner, but it just tightens up, like Kevin Hansen was saying.
Oh, it's closer than he thought he was going to be, isn't it? The traction race the line. Evertsen does get it. 90% chance of thunderstorms tomorrow, Hal, and cloudy on Sunday. So I think we might have had the best of the weather last night in our meeting.
Bring my crag hopper for that.
Yes, definitely. I might not wear shorts tomorrow. Seems
you're wearing shorts?
Yeah, I've gone for shorts today, and you, yeah. We're like newsreaders behind the desk here. We can be wearing whatever we want. Can we? Hawaiians, pants,
like
really?
Everyone working at home.
Yes,
during lockdown.
Basically, yeah, taking calls. There's nothing worse than a Zoom call, is there, when you're in your dressing gown or your PJs and somebody wants a Zoom call. Mind you, don't switch the camera on, do you?
I don't.
I've left the odd Zoom meeting to go and make a tea. And it's a multiple one, and everyone's going on a bit. And I need a tea. switch the camera off, quickly make a tea, come back. All right. It's only a bummer when they've asked you a question.
How many of your days do you spend in your dressing gown? Don't you just get dressed when you get up?
Depends what kind of day it is, really. I mean, you know, I don't know. The Olympics, basically, the Olympics were a total write-off for me. Although I've done a lot of training, to be fair. I've been swimming quite a lot, thanks to being inspired by the Olympics.
You're going to enter the Olympics?
I'm not, no. I could maybe. I think I'd stand a chance of a medal at the Talking Olympics. What do you think? Is there such a thing? What medal would I win? Most annoying?
Couldn't possibly comment.
I'm wearing Hal down a bit today. He had a 4.5-hour car journey with me yesterday. We had a good chat, didn't we? We caught up since Oulu in Finland. So yeah, we're having fun. I hope you guys are having fun at home as well as we move on to cross car, which I have to say has been one of our favourite classes this year. And this one should be a banger. Jimmy Osterberg on the inside line. Patrick Hallberg, Tommy Svard, Isaac Grierson and Ronald Spaldings. So hard to judge the revs in these little pocket rockets in these conditions. They all let the revs dip just a little bit. Baldings with a good start on the outside line. Tommy Svard on the inside, squeezing Osterberg, who's right on the inside line. Osterberg now runs wide. Svard looks towards that inside line. Now they're on the lock stops. Hallberg goes right up the inside and just finds the traction, but it's alongside. It's Osterberg. Osterberg gets over the crest on the inside of the left hand and now the right. We've got 8 position changes now. We get cars clattering into the side of each other at the back of the pack as they all try and find the traction. Look at the lines they're leaving on the tarmac. Finally, they're just about in line. I think it's Hallberg from Osterberg.
It is up front. Isaac Grierson's making a move for 4th place in the background. He was trying that move all the way through the first section of the lap, wasn't he? Just it was one of those scenarios where it was either going to all open up for him or it would all close down, and in the event, all closed down.
With that first lap, when you've got better confidence than the guy in front, you know it's a good chance to stick one on him, because if you don't, Baldings runs a bit wide. If you don't stick it on him, Baldings goes joker now, uses that momentum. And it's Osterberg, I think, who's gone in as well. Osterberg going to try and find the traction on the exit here. Should be able to pass at least one car. Ends up P3. You know, if you've got that confidence, Hal, you can stick one on someone, because as soon as they've got...
Sorry, Andrew.
You can't do it. Go.
Grierson just ran a little bit wide, and Osterberg, absolute opportunist, stuck it up the inside on the exit of turn 1. I was just thinking it's a risk for Osterberg to joker from that position when he's got so much pace, but Grierson, we know, is very quick too, so it's like being in the quick race of a session, isn't it?
It is a quick heat, this one, definitely. Hallberg over the crest. I love watching the onboard with McConnell earlier, and it gives you an indication of A, how quickly you're going up that hill, and B, how blind the braking is. McConnell was actually on the brakes way before the crest, wasn't he? I know the significant portion of the braking was done downhill.
You've got to start scrubbing the speed up, haven't you?
Well, if you go over the crest and go light and then try and go on the brakes, it's not going to happen. And obviously the cross cars are braking in a different position, maybe not so much now, it's wet, but it's a great track.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're lighter, so they can brake later, and they're not going quite so fast. But I love the variety in the different classes, and the fact that not everyone is doing the same thing in the same places.
They're also livid. Are they? Like what you know yourself from RX 150s in the UK, something like this in the wet is a handful.
I love it. I love driving in the wet.
I need to do some more laps in the wet to get to love that.
Not just in that. In general, I've always enjoyed driving in the rain.
Yeah.
It just feels like you're driving with your fingers and toes, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Fingertips and tiptoes just feel the whole time. That's why it's so impressive when someone is a real rain meister, isn't it? When they're that good. Hallberg is going to wait and joker on the last lap.
So we don't know what the joker gap is yet, do we? But 3 seconds is the gap between Hallberg and Osterberg.
The last
time around is in a second. 3.7.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. Hallberg looked like he gapped him just a little bit. This is so Osterberg racing at home, but Hallberg obviously, the home advantage. Yeah, okay, it's like Christopherson's racing at home. These are all very good drivers, and you might know a few little tricks at your own track, but that doesn't mean you're going to have all your own way.
It just means you're busier in the paddock, doesn't it? Talking to people you know, rather than I think rather than having any major advantage out on circuit.
Let's not forget as well that all 3 of our championship front runners are in this. So Patrick Hallberg in the 161, leading the standings at the moment on 117 points. Jimmy Osterberg is P2, equal on 117 points. And then Isaac Rierson is third on 117 points. He's fourth in this race. So it could be first plug to Hallberg, and it's going to be, because that is a great joker who's got the car straight and he's absolutely smashed it. Patrick Hallberg crosses the line to take the first winning cross car here at Arvika. Osterberg, P2. Rierson was super close to him in P4. So all three of the championship runners safely through this first race. What's the time for Hallberg? 3:42.8.
Perfect start to the weekend for Hallberg, who hasn't won yet this year, has he? And he was the main benefactor from that carnage in the first corner of the final last time out in Oulu.
Look at Osterberg here, gets squeezed but then gets through, but having gone through, because he's carried the extra speed to make sure he's through the gap, he then runs wide, and you can see Hallberg has just sort of tiptoed up the inside and gone, cheers, I'll have that. Osterberg's then got the inside line as they go over the crest and left, so it gives him the advantage. And now they're about to go right. It was Hallberg, sorry, it was Baldin's look who was on the inside riding the curbs. In the background, Rierson's trying to make a pass as well. And that's what I was saying, Hal, where Rierson obviously had the confidence on the first lap and thought, I'm going to make a move here while I've got that excess confidence, but unfortunately couldn't quite pull it off. Baldin's look with terminal understeer mid-corner, jumps on the gas, flicks it to oversteer. I mean, they're just such busy things to drive. Look at that. That's a rallycross driver already going, yeah, basically, I didn't quite enough grip. I'd like to change it. There it is. If I could, that's, you know what I mean, don't you? He knows the score. Okay, that doesn't look quite right to me. We've got a couple of Joachim Evertsons in there, so we'll ignore that for now.
That's a super open two-wheel drive results. That was.
Okay. Pasi Penttinen, Jarkko Aronen, Eric Andersen, Sindre Teuterud and Isok Egensen. They'll have watched that, or what they can from the pre-grid. What you basically see is cars blasting past that Cooper Tire branding in the background under the SM Rallycross archway. When you're in the pre-grid, it's just whap, whap, every now and then as a car comes past. Penttinen with a great start on the inside line. Pasi Penttinen, good reaction time, nicely done. Won't know that behind him, Jarkko Aronen moved out wide to give a better line into turn one. Aronen, though, can't make that count. And it is Pasi Penttinen who holds on from the whole shot. So Penttinen from Aronen. Aronen did well there. Aronen squeezed across and just opened up turn one. And I think would have been hoping that Penttinen was going to run a bit wider, Hal.
Yeah, they're still side by side further back, aren't they?
And then gains it back again. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
And that's just an indication how, you know, this track lends itself to these moves, doesn't it? Because there's so many corners that open and tighten, and there's a small gap in between. Just like here, there's a small straight to try and gather things back together, to then have another corner that opens and then tightens. But it makes for brilliant racing. I absolutely love this venue.
Yeah, me too. Great little track. Really good. Joker from P3. Penttinen not really got any kind of a gap from Aronen. And look again there, look how sideways you get coming off. That inside line is still just a little bit, I think it's a bit wetter. You know the line when they like to apex really slowly, get the car straight, but to me there's a lot of standing water on the inside, probably where the cars aren't passing over it so much.
Well, the sun's back out now, isn't it? I don't know if it's still raining or not. You can look at the lines they're leaving every time through that tight right-hander, but we're now into that greasy phase of the circuit that we were talking about with Kevin, aren't we, where he's quite sort of loose on the top of the hill, but it's almost dry into the right-hander down there, so it's in that really confused stage of being quite slippery offline but getting quite a dry surface on the main racing line.
Penttinen's in the Speedcar Wonder, isn't he, which is the more recent chassis, which is more for the FIA regs. Now, yeah. I have to say Penttinen's livery I like. It's funny, isn't it, how a livery can really change the way that you see the car, you know, almost the shape and line of the car, can't it? Tight in behind. See Teuterud and Egensen getting into it.
Yeah, this really contrasty light doesn't do anything for car recognition in cross car, does it?
No, it doesn't, I'm afraid. No, it's just 4 dirty buggies, or 5. We don't know where the 5th one is right now. Aronen in P2. Those two haven't joken. How far back is Teuterud? Because they're not that far back, actually. What's the gap like?
3.1 off Penttinen.
It's not that far, is it? I wonder if they might be...
Only 2.5 off Aronen at the moment.
They might be close. So, okay, well, that gives... So, between 2.5 and 3 is what we've got there between the front 2 cars and the 2 behind. That might give us a better indicator. Of course, the trouble is the Joker Delta is changing on... almost a lap-by-lap basis. Penton looked confident there, didn't he? Came out through the long right-hander with a bit of lock on. Aronen's gone, had to do an alternate strategy. Should have enough speed here, just clears it. Treuteren moved across, just about left him enough room, and gets away with it. Now rotates the car through. Now he's looking for a big one. Okay, Kevin Hansen is out there doing exactly what he said he was going to do, which is look at grip and decide on what tyres they need to be using. Right out to that Armco. That's where I was standing earlier. Not sure I'll be standing there again. It's one of those things you sort of stand there for this is mint, and then you're like, actually, it's probably pretty dangerous. Maybe I'll stand somewhere else. And then we had a whole conversation there, didn't we, for half an hour, and we really can't hear anything, so all we have to do is move somewhere else for the conversation, but we couldn't drag ourselves away. Look how much it's drying out, Hal, down the back straight. Yeah. It's like Spa, but like 1/10 the side, isn't it? Yeah, it's raining on the front side of the circuit. It's still damp there, but it's dry out the back. Penton then goes Joker. Inside line, Aronen putting a great lap. Penton will have good exit speed. Aronen moves across, going to make Penton then go tight. They're going to be side by side over the line. Who got it? Was it Pentonen? Pentonen by... Well, no, surely not that. No, that's not right. So... Timing screen not showing the finish line. That's it, yeah, by 3,000th of a second. Pasi Pentonen gets Jarkko Aronen. So Aronen actually closed it. If you think Aronen was half a second back and managed to close that gap up, and you could see perfectly there the dash to the line. 3,000th, that would be, if that were a final, would that be the record for the closest ever rallycross finish? It would, wouldn't it, if it had been a final? Or is it Supercar?
Well, the closest ever rallycross finish is a big shout, isn't it? Because we don't actually know all of the times.
No, but we're just going to... You know what we say about TV? We say it, it's true.
Okay. Yes, then.
What was that? What was the time difference between extra and Solway? Was it 6,000?
5.
Yes, I mean
in Estering.
And anything going. Basically, I always think anything under a 10th is pretty impressive.
Oh,
when
mad,
you get down to
it's
thousands,
completely mad.
It's just bonkers. And actually, I mean, when
that goes down to where you mount the transponder.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is it's where's the transponder on those two cars? Pentonen takes it. There you go. 3,000th of a second. 3:47.568.
5 seconds slower than the previous round.
So, but Hal, is that where the track's gone the other way again? And it's so hard to explain if you've never driven on a circuit, but it's wet and there's a bit of grip. Then it starts to go greasy and there isn't. But there's a tipping point where it's great, and then it starts to get worse for a long time, and then suddenly it will get great again, and you could smash the times.
Yeah, and I think we're in that getting a bit worse phase at the moment, aren't we?
Really, I think the thing is, when you've only got 3 heats, as we have with Crosscar here, we've got 14 cars this weekend, which is, we've had like 25, nearly 30 before. Of course, the thing is, a lot of people will now go, I'm going to save my budget for next year. Bendixen, Hukar, Goodison and Sarkaresan on the outside. Bendixen with a great start. Hukar going to come through for P2. Hukar was our Send It award, I think, from Denmark earlier this year. Look at that, but that is the total opposite, and that is just feeling the front grip, trying to hold on. On this occasion, not holding on though, loses out a spot. Hukar will now try and find more traction on the exit here. Look how patient they are, but you've got it. It's such a tough one. Kevin was saying about having the car straight and finding that traction because the rear axle's solid. Here, Hukar, look, trying to find the traction, going to go around the outside if he can. Hukar trying to pull it off. Looks to the inside line, the brake's not quite there. When you've got understeer mid-corner, you want to get on the gas to kill the understeer, but you also want to wait to get the traction. It's really hard.
But I think that's one of the driving styles in these. Once you've got understeer, it's very difficult to get back out of it, isn't it? It's not like you've got a differential in the rear where you can stand on the throttle and depending on the grip levels, you can get the rear rotated. This is what Graham Rodemark, I know we were laughing about Graham.
Bennington stops. Bennington stops and gets collected by Hukar. I thought for a second he'd broken the car. Hukar did actually run into the back of him, but maybe Hal had just missed a gear.
Bendixen's had all sorts of engine problems this year. Do you remember earlier in Julius where he retired with... looks like he's got some sort of issue that's slowing him now, doesn't it? But I think so. Could easily have sustained damage because that was a big hit, wasn't it?
Either that or he's just being a bit of a pig. I wonder if he was potentially just being really, like desperately trying to get it straight for the exit. And obviously Hukar's come through on a different line and he's pushing through.
Looks right up the hill there, doesn't it? And into the braking zone, moving it around a little bit, but nothing untoward.
The gravel's so, this is going to sound wrong, but easy in the wet because there's still grip there. You're still digging tyres into the gravel. It's so much more predictable than greasy tarmac.
Especially on wet tyres, like Kevin was saying, because you've got substance there to dig into.
Bendixson, I think Bendixson was super slow at the
Yeah, you can hear it revving, can't you? So it's either not engaging the gear or there's a problem with the clutch slipping or something. You can, out of all of the slow corners, it seems to be similar.
Coming under a lot of pressure from Goodison. Goodison, who has Joke. In fact, so Goodison's going to take this. Hukar was a bit unlucky, wasn't he, to collect Bendixson as he did.
Hukar's being very moderated.
We don't like that, do we?
Normally very spectacular. Probably the most spectacular driver in RallyX Nordic, I would say.
Just checking through Supercar lights. Yes, we've got Casper Janssen coming up. So, and we've got George McGuinness. I'm now looking forward to seeing what George is going to do, actually. He was really pleased this morning. George was 5th fastest in practice, but that was
there's no sending, just perfect, squeaky clean lines and fast pace.
Yeah. I think George...
I love the fact he was so enthusiastic about the supernatural cars. I just can't get over that.
I've got to go and have a look around. Give me 5 minutes, and then
you ask him a serious question. No, just before I forget, that Porsche in that last race was epic. Like,
yes, he's a good lad, isn't he? He's only 16. He said
he can come again.
He said, bless him. He messaged me earlier on this year on Instagram and was asking about how to get into Sweden because he wanted to come across and he wasn't sure about the COVID stuff. Obviously, it's changed a lot. Bendixson holding on from Goodison. Goodison. Yes, Goodison back behind Bendixson. Too busy talking about George, aren't we? But yeah, he said my parents have basically sent me over here. He said I've got a whole folder of how not to get lost, how to get to Sweden, how to get to the hotels. He said I've got letters of permission. He needs letters to allow him to stay in hotels on his own because he's only 16. He's done 3,000 miles away from my parents. I was like, how are you getting on with it? He's like, yeah, I'm really excited. I was like, wow. You know, when I was 16, that was just not going to happen. He's gone to the other side of the world now to race cars in Sweden. I mean, it's great, isn't it?
Amazing, yeah.
Wow, we've had a sheltered life. Well, not really, I suppose.
He's such a nice kid as well.
Yeah, he's lovely.
And he's a kid.
Yeah, yes, 16. Yeah, but he's could he still take part in junior cross car?
He could. Well, no, he could. Yes.
Yes,
he could. Yeah.
So he could still be in junior cross car. Bendixson's start was good. Hukar too. Hukar lost out in turn 1, and then Hukar actually, as we say, collected Bendixson on the exit of the Joker. So we don't know if Bendixson was being super patient on the throttle, and Hukar had a different line, or Hal said we could hear. You guys could hear at home. Here it is. So watch Bendixson middle of the corner. Now he stops, look, so that is definitely an issue. Hukar, I reckon Hukar will have had damage there. So geometry probably out on the front of the number 5 car for the rest of the session.
This is Bendixson passing Goodison later in the race. This was into the final lap, wasn't it? That was a clean move. Amazingly, he won that, given the problems he seemed to have through the
car looked like it bogged there again, but I wonder if he's just taken second early to try and kill the wheel spin.
And the time was reasonable too.
3:48.8. So it is Hallberg who wins. Just writing stuff down. You can hear my brain ticking, can't you? Hallberg wins the session with a 3:42.8. So it's first score on the board to Patrick Hallberg in that fight with Jimmy Osterberg and Isaac Riasson. Remember, those three are on equal points, 117 each, in the battle to be crowned 2021 RallyX Nordic Cross Car Champion. We continue. Supercar lights. We have got Simon Olofsson, Linus Osland, Isaac Sokvist, Niklas Aneklev and Martin Jonsson. You can hear each of the drivers clunk the car into gear. Osland is P3 in the standings at the minute. Second on the grid here, so we'll want a good start. Great reaction on the inside line from Simon Olofsson. He had such a strong start to this season. Around the outside line though, Martin Jonsson trying to go the long way around, but I think if Simon holds on the inside, he should be fine there. Linus Osland gets alongside. Osland's got the inside line now for what I guess is turn 3, but gives the spot up. Maybe looking for traction on the inside. He does. Osland's managing to get a nose alongside. Oh, and they're just pulling out the back. Was it Sokvist, I think, who gave up the position, decided not to stick his nose inside.
And now Aneklev going to have a look at Hookvist going up the hill. Hookvist did well to back out of that, didn't he? Because that could have been a mess with 3 wide going over the second jump here in at Westernbanen.
Thought better of it, didn't he? He had a nose up the inside of Austin. Austin had a nose up the inside as well, and actually everyone went no.
Equals crash.
Yeah, it's only Q1. It's only Friday. There's nothing else to do today. I mean, you could risk it for a biscuit today, couldn't you? You got all night to fix the car if you want. Maybe. But yeah, most of these guys are just too pro, aren't they? So
Osland Joker and has got out ahead of Anaklev, who's at the rear of the field. Simon Olofsson up front. Simon really needs a good weekend to finish his season, didn't he? Started so amazingly well for him, didn't it, in Denmark? Absolutely smashed it on the first day, and then it's gone so difficult for him since, really.
Yeah, it was a clean sweep, wasn't it, on the first day? Won all 3 qualifiers, semi and the final.
He just didn't look like being touched.
No, and then he was 6th in the semis in both Neeson second round and Hollius of the first round with retirement. Then he was 6th again without retiring at Hollius. So actually, he's only made the final once more, which was last time at Oulu. He was P6 in the final on day 2. So Oulu 2, as I've got it noted down here, round 6, in fact, of the series. See, Olofsson, you want to put the car to bed for Winterhall if that's what he chooses to do, don't you? And go, I'm good. I've got back to where I want to be. Like, next year will be great. Yeah,
he's had a bit. His whole career has been like a mountain range in terms of peaks and troughs. It's been, really up and down. He won this championship in 2016, and there's always, whatever the entry numbers, there's always a really high level in light, especially in the Nordic Championship. So he is good, and he has great potential. He just doesn't realise that all the time. And whether that's psychological or, there's so many factors at play, aren't there?
The psychological game is so important. I think people don't understand just how much of a driver's speed can be in their head, and it can just be, he was in such a good place. Clearly, it was like, I'm going to smash this season. Gone Joker now. Olofsson round the outside line on the inside, Linus Ostlund, but Olofsson's going to find the traction. Gets away, and Ostlund almost at a standstill on that inside, just not able to get the car away. Hookvist is up into P4, and Netclev staying down in 5th place.
Great call from Simon's sister, Sandra Holmgren, to call him into the Joker at that stage of the race to cover off Linus Ostlund, because we know Linus is quick. Another driver who hasn't really featured as we expected him to through the course of the season, based on how his performances were last year. Remember that massive crash in Denmark as well, didn't he? There she is.
He did.
Another.
Sandra used to race, didn't she?
Yes, brilliant driver in her own right. So just like Eric Farren or Kevin Hansen, it's always so good to have someone who's been there and done it to have that experience on the radio, isn't it?
I think so. Eric's such a calm influence on the radio. I'd love to have Eric as a spotter. Definitely. Just super calm. Super calm. Olofsson takes it, withstands any pressure. Austin manages to get to P2. Good run. .328.3. This was off the line. Olofsson just got better traction. It was a great reaction time from a Netclev. You saw the front of the car, the other yellow car that's down in P5, off the line. Was amazing, but just must have been too much RPM and span it up too much.
And then just watch Ostlund go side by side with Martin Jonsson over the jump. We don't see it from the forward camera angle, but there's 2 lines over that jump, isn't it? Really interesting how you can get away with running side by side there when it looks so risky. But yeah, going back to the start, pole is so important here, isn't it? Because it's a long right-hand corner, but also the Joker's so late. So it's very difficult to go around the outside, all things being equal. If everyone makes the same start, it's very difficult to gain from going around the outside from an outside grid slot. And then you're stuck in the traffic, aren't you, until the end of the lap. So pole's actually more important, I would say, here than at many places we go to.
Yeah, as always, as long as you get off the line. But it's because it's such a long corner, really, they've got to go a very long way around the outside, haven't they?
You also get the wonderful undercut, don't you, where the inside car runs too deep and the guy on the outside cuts back inside.
That's what I was going to say, is if you've got the pole, it's almost painful how patient you've got to be not to allow yourself to run too deep. 328.3 for Olofsson. Tommy Howman on the inside line, championship leader. Really, by starting this race, we would crown him champion, but I think we'll wait until the end of qualifying. Then it's Niels Andersen, Martin Enland. You're looking at Casper Janssen in the black and green, and Gregory Foss, the French driver. French flag, in fact, the tricolour across the back of the car. That's Cuba. Has Cuba got a drone? I think Cuba might have a drone. I don't know. If not, maybe he's playing radio controlled cars. Yeah, Cuba did unfortunately suffer a theft in Barcelona when he was down for the World Championship. I'm not actually sure it was in Barcelona, but it was during that weekend. Had his kit stolen from the car. Awful. Right. Business. Howman, Anderson, Enlund, Janssen, Foss. Howman with a brilliant start, but has to kick the clutch twice and ends up dropping straight down into P3. Tommy Howman, the championship leader. Side by side, but he goes up the inside immediately, so makes up one place. He's surely not going to now get Anderson as well. Howman has gone from P1 to P3, straight back up to P1 in one corner. Absolutely brilliant driving from the Finn, and Nils Anderson is in P2. Anderson holding the rest of the pack up. Casper Janssen on the outside line. Not going to get to the inside from there. And it's in fact looks like he's on a slightly more slippery part of track. Moves across to the right now. Casper Janssen is side by side. Going to be brave over the crest. Janssen has been one of the Send It Award winners this year, and that was a great move by him.
Great move on his teammate as well, isn't it, in the Enlund's Motorsport camp? So brave to do that. He's having a look at Nils Anderson as well. Nils is running really wide through that right-hander onto the gravel, and he's got it done. Impressive.
Yeah. Casper's rise for us has been brilliant this year. I know we've said this a lot, but we try and keep our eyes out for when people are doing a good job. He was really sideways and aggressive at the first event, and since just made loads of improvements. A little bit wide in turn 2 there, turn 1, sorry.
But worked for him, didn't it? Because he was able to square off the exit and carry the momentum.
And get the speed through. But Tommy Howman, you saw his start, Hal, really quick reaction, then kicked the clutch twice. So obviously the RPM was dipping a bit, and that must mean that the grip is coming up on the start line.
And the composure of a champion, or at least a champion-elect, but the composure of a champion to not get flustered by that scenario, get the car away despite it not going perfectly, and then get back up there. Surprised Nils Anderson hadn't covered the inside. Maybe he just couldn't get the car quite back to the apex. Looks like he's got really bad understeer through there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was taxi to the apex again, wasn't it? Just not quite getting the car where he wants it.
Of course, Nils running at his home track, lives in Arvika.
At the workshop, isn't he, often early in the mornings with the Christophersons, and Enlund chasing him down. That's more like it, Nils. But Nils has had some real flashes of brilliance this year, and again, I just feel like has taken a big step in the right direction, but we'll want better at his home track.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we know Nils' level.
Yeah.
Multiple winner in champion in cross car, and for Tommy Howman to come here on a track that is totally new to him, in a car that he's only been racing for what round is it? 7? Yeah, 7 events he's ever done in this lights car, and he's still smashing it. I think. I know we've given him a lot of credibility, but he's doing an amazing job, and I think because we know how good someone like Nils Anderson is, it really shows how good Howman has been this year.
Casper Janssen's gone joker, has come out just behind Anderson, and I think we'll be disappointed about that. Casper Janssen looks really good, doesn't he? Really aggressive. I wonder if Nils, was there side-by-side contact? I wonder if Nils might be carrying just a tiny bit of geometry, the problem that might be magnified by the damn conditions. If not, but I mean, potentially how they've taken the gamble on the setup, because we've been saying that conditions are changing so quickly that he might just have gambled the wrong way.
Yeah, it looks all right. I mean, you only need a couple of millimetres out on the steering angle for it to feel horrible, and to have chronic understeer or oversteer or whatever happens to the geometry. But it doesn't look too bad, does it?
Howman goes into the joker. That Casper Janssen's on the inside line, but Howman's going to get it. Janssen is looking really impressive, but champion-elect Howman takes the flag. 3:24. No, that was the time to beat. Howman's 3:24.5, so he goes quickest. That's the start, Hal, where he dips the clutch twice. Middle of the grid, Martin Enlund looked to be doing well there, and then Enlund sort of backed off. Watch this, look here, Enlund, as they come off the line, Enlund here looks to be really strong, and then suddenly just seems to go backwards. I wonder if he was hoping to cut in. Yeah, he was. I think he was hoping to cut inside Anderson, didn't realise that Howman was already there.
Yeah, maybe he thought Howman had not made up that ground back. And you could just see him disappear out of the side window and then think he's not going to be there.
Yeah, so make the cut back, and if Anderson runs wide, get the whole shot. So, okay, Enlund, good tactics. Janssen.
Quite a whack in the rear as well, Nils, there, didn't he? Enlund's got a penalty for pushing, but I don't know where. Could easily be there, couldn't it? But it was awesome.
I'd say so, but
not untoward, is it?
No,
it's
not
just
really. Not in the first couple of corner bundle.
What are you supposed to do?
Says Hal with the full driver. What was I supposed to do? I didn't mean to push him off. Where was I supposed to go? We want them to race, don't we? We want them to race. But also, we appreciate the job done by race control. It's not much fun having to make those decisions, and they are consistent, is what the drivers
I love how
say.
fast Krista makes the decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's regardless what you think of it, the fact that it's a quick decision for me is great, because then everything can move on.
Exactly, and there hasn't really been many decisions that I've seen overturned. Krista makes a pretty quick, pretty accurate decision, and what I think a key to that is when you ask the drivers, what do you think, and they're like, well, harsh but consistent.
Yeah.
And so as long as it's just weren't the same. Yeah. So if you get, if someone sticks it into you want to know that if the favour gets returned, it'll either be no penalties or penalties for both of you, not one way or the other.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it kind of looks like a dry line bottom right of your screen, but it could equally be where the sun's shining and actually a horrible, slimy mess. Person, Tornholt, McGuinness, Vakela and Sornbron. Good start by George McGuinness in the middle of the grid. He was in the commentary box with us earlier, going to try and shut the door. Gets a tap, gets pushed sideways, gets on the throttle and holds on to the position. I'm guessing there'll be some family watching back in New York. His brother races in Indy Lights, and he'll be well proud of his younger brother here, 16-year-old McGuinness, fighting for the lead in his first ever Lights race, P2 at the moment, though.
He did send it, didn't he? Had no choice, really, because he was stuck on the outside.
Got sent.
And had to turn in, got a little bit rotated. Great first corner. That's a proper Rallycross first corner for your debut race.
And has never driven this car in wet conditions, remember. He's never driven it before. It's not like he had a wet practice this morning. Nightmare.
I wonder has Kevin texted us?
I bet he has.
Oh, I've got so many WhatsApps I can't see. But
no, he hasn't.
I wonder if they might be on dry tyres now, because there's a really clear dry line, isn't there? And
they're going to get traction on the exit. George McGuinness makes the pass for the lead.
What a move!
Shut the door. Absolutely fantastic. McGuinness takes the lead from Emil Persson. Persson is sideways in turn one. Well, the confidence was pretty incredible when he was in the commentary box, but in a really nice way. The guy, he loves rallycross. He was all smiles. Yeah, often we bring people in here and they're a bit like, oh, television camera commentary, I'm a bit scared. And he was absolutely brilliant. I was thinking he's got a future in TV if he hasn't got a future in rallycross, but look at the way he's chucking it round.
For a kart racer, the way he's moving that car around is absolutely exceptional. And, that racecraft, we shouldn't be surprised to see him pulling a move like that, because he's come from karting where it's so competitive and so close.
Hectic starts always.
But what you can be surprised by is how he's moving the car around on the loose, because that isn't what you do in a kart, is it? And you have to really learn that. Obviously, he's learning for some of the best in the business, but you've still got to execute it, and he's doing a great job.
Absolutely brilliant. So George McGuinness leads this from Persson. Sornbrunn, Vakela and Tornholt all joke. And I wonder if we might see Lane Vakela later this year in NRX Next, another American driver. George, of course, we know he's going there with Yellow Squad.
I'm pretty sure that McGuinness has just betted Tommy Holman's best lap of the previous race. So obviously the conditions are probably improving a little bit, but still.
That's impressive. Holman has had 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, 2/3. He's not been off the podium all year. This is McGuinness' first race. He's never sat the car in wet, slippery conditions. I might have to give him one of those lick the stamp medals, Hal. What do you reckon?
We need to see some more sending from him.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not appropriate.
Well, it's too tiny.
Yeah, but he did say I'm going to send it in turn one. Should we give him one just for merit?
Yeah,
he does like Porsches.
Okay, yeah, fine. Sold.
Supernational, that's it. If he likes Supernational cars, he went off to look at Volvos on his arrival from the US of A. So George McGuinness, you'll see in NRX Next later this year. The support category for Nitro Rallycross, and I can't wait to see him in it now, I have to say. Really impressive. It's all very well talking the talk, but you've got to walk the walk as well, and he's very much doing that. He's running the run, isn't he, really? He's not walking the walk.
Look how dry it is through there now. Almost dust coming up on the loose section. He's just got the Joker lap to go. Obviously, that's going to be another exploration for him, because that is a bit wetter than the standard lap.
And still, he nails it. Nicely done in the middle of the corner. Gets the car straight, lot of rotation in a short time in the middle of the corner, and pulls away. Look, I'll tell you, brilliant. It's a win for McGuinness on his debut, first of all. What's the time? 3:24.2. He goes 3 tenths of a quicker. George McGuinness has gone fastest in his first ever Rallycross race, ahead of the guy who is leading this championship in conditions where he's never driven the car before. We think the track's improving, but that is not the point. The point is, this is a brilliant drive from a very likeable young American who is here in Sweden without his parents, 3,000 miles from home, age 16, and got a big knock in the rear corner in the first corner of the race, and just coped with it brilliantly. Look at the start.
Well, this is his send it moment, isn't it? He's had to turn in on Tornholt, isn't it? And I thought he's braking enough there. I thought he was going to try for the inside. Obviously can't because there's cars everywhere. But the composure to have that hit in the first corner, you don't have that in the same way in karting either, do you? It's all far more gentlemanly most of the time.
I think you might have given a little nudge there over the crest as well, so he's in rallycross mode already. It's the move. So here we go, this was down towards the last corner, and McGuinness just gets the nose up the inside look, finds the traction, and just drives past. Person was untidy on the way in, and then just look, he's out on the damp stuff, and you can see not online, and McGuinness gets it.
But McGuinness clever enough to see that Person was running wide and to just check up a little bit more to brake to cut back in.
Very impressive indeed. Very impressive indeed. So is George McGuinness going to win his first ever qualifying session? In this last race, we've got Mattis Janssen, Michael Ringström, Gustav Bergström and Mats Oskarsson. Right, we're going to have a look now at Johan Kristoffersson just quickly. So this is Johan, who's looking at the lights. Ready, he's got left hand is on the wheel, right hand's on the handbrake and lets it go.
Jumped it.
You reckon?
Must try harder.
A lot of the drivers
doesn't look very happy with it, does he? So I suspect he.
A lot of the drivers do it, though, don't they? They run through that in the same way you often you see, like a bobsled racer will stand at the start, and you'll see them actually physically make the turns. And it's just that thing of visualise the
muscle memory as well. Isn't it?
Visualise the performance that you want, and then get it done. Which I'm sure you'll have heard a lot of Olympians talking about wherever you're from in the world. We've seen so many brilliant performances at the fantastic Olympics. I want cross car as an Olympic sport. So I'm having a conversation on Twitter with the skateboard commentator. Where I want cross car as an Olympic sport. Why not?
Yeah, great. Yeah. Then you could be an Olympian.
I want to commentate it. That'd be awesome. Janssen on the inside line with an absolutely fantastic start. Everybody else behind looking to swap paint, it seems, on the run to the first corner. And the track really, it is drying out, Hal, particularly through turn one, side by side for the lead. There's still a puddle after the jump, and that's the thing. I mean, if you look at turn three there, it's still full wet, really. Or look up the inside, going to lose the position here. Or hooks the curbs on the inside line, on the outside, into the bank, going to lose two positions as they go up over the crest. So Janssen has gone from P1 down to P3, but holds on to P2 on the brakes.
Great move from Oskarsson, wasn't it? Just to muscle his way through on the inside, and look at the advantage now towards the end of the lap.
Well, we'll check the lap times in a minute, Hal. I think this will give us a better indication. So Mats Oskarsson this year, had a P2 actually back in Nice. So Oskarsson's well capable. Has been in the final 3 times and then missed the semi-finals twice. So in Oulu, Oskarsson was just off the pace. So Oskarsson's pretty capable here, and I think if he can do the lap times, then we'll have an idea, won't we, if the track has improved a lot and if that helped McGuinness or not. But I'm not taking it away from McGuinness anyway. First time in slippery conditions in that car. Great job. Great job.
Janssen's wild in the background, just clips the bank again to the left of that shot going up the hill. It's so the cameras don't really do it justice how fast. 160 kilometers an hour it is in a supercar on the top of that hill. You don't really get that impression on the camera angle, do you? But it's so quick and yet so technical at the same time.
Both Kevin Eriksson, who's competing this weekend, you'll see him in a minute, in the Honda, and Johan Kristoffersson said to me this is a very technical circuit. Janssen getting the good exit, but out on the damp outer line.
I think this is one of the most technical rallycross circuits I've ever been to.
I'm looking forward to a bit more of a look around it during the course of the weekend.
I've got a great muscle memory that I wanted to share with you in the pre-grid. I can't remember where we were once. You know when Codemasters would bring the dirt rigs and when Dirt Rally 2.0 was first out, and we'd all have a play in the paddock in World RX events.
With the drivers.
Yeah, well, exactly that. So I can't drive around Portugal in a supercar. I just bounce off the walls. It's horrible. But Andreas Bakker got in his focus at the time actually, and drove through Portugal. First lap, he said he hadn't driven that track before, and sent it through the last corners in Portugal, through the high walls, and you've got to get the car rotated through the big curves. And he was just flicking the car on dirt, but in the same way that he would. And I was blown away. And he's just like, it's muscle memory. I just know where the car will be, and when to turn. And I was just like, such a great indication of how at this level, even at the level here, and even more so at World Championship and Nitro level, where the drivers are just driving so much on instinct, and it's just like watching Johan, practice the start there. Yes, he's practicing his reactions and counting the gaps, but it's also just about that movement to release everything and press everything at the right time.
Absolutely. I think as well, it's a good indicator of how esports and simulators and things have really changed motorsport too, and how much closer they are to reality. Oh, he's gone quicker. So Janssen goes quicker. 3:24.0. Only just. But
that'll be his first ever fastest.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
I
was just looking to see where Janssen is. Janssen 22. Oh yeah, so came to Oulu.
Yeah, he joined later in the year.
So made the semis in Oulu 1 and qualified 15th in Oulu 2. I think probably will be quite surprised to see himself up in potential TQ top qualifier spot overnight here after Q1. George McGuinness, I think, will be slightly disappointed. I think Tommy Howman will probably be slightly relieved, because I think we can see that the track conditions are heading in the right direction for faster lap times. But that's to take nothing away from these guys. This is Rallycross, and you've got to deal with what is thrown at you. What you got, Hal? Anything interesting coming through? You got penalties or anything?
Oscarson's got a 3-second penalty for pushing in the previous race, so that drops him.
But that doesn't affect.
No, it's not going to affect the top of the order.
Okay. Mattis Janssen 3:24.0 is your top qualifier at the moment. Those people being up in the stands should give you an idea that we are heading towards Supercar. There's Niels Anderson having a chat with Crosscar Supremo. That's Hedstrom, isn't it, in the Hyundai?
Yep.
So Hedstrom has acquired a Hyundai from GRX, Gronholm RX. So let one of the cars go. I had a decent chat with Hedstrom earlier on about driving the new car. We'll have a chat about that in a minute, but let's get ourselves familiar with who's on the line. Anton Markland inside, Hedstrom, Enzo Eid, Andreas Carlson and Anders Michalak. So Markland, Hedstrom, Eid on the inside. Has Hedstrom got his head around the starts in the Hyundai yet? Well, it looks like he's got a decent one, but Anton Markland got a better start on the inside. Hedstrom trying to go alongside, but couldn't get it done. Carlson's gone all the way around the outside, pitching the car in, gets towards the apex, and Markland's already there. And Hedstrom does in fact get through. Enzo Eid is at the back of the pack after loads of contact. He won't be happy with that. And it's Hedstrom that leads in his brand new GRX Hyundai, being run by his own squad, Hedstrom Motorsport. How far back is Eid? Is Enzo Eid pulled out from this or not? Over the top and on the brakes coming down. No, Enzo Eid is still there. So good start by Hedstrom, Hal.
Anton Markland took a big old whack in the rear from Anders Carlson, didn't he, on the exit of turn 1. And Enzo Eid, yet again, his Nordic season has just been a tale of him being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And nothing he could do about that. Got shoveled wide on the run to the jump.
He's coming mega sideways to the apex there and manages to get out in front, but obviously he hasn't jokered. Now got to try and gap those cars behind, needs to keep it tidy. So Hedstrom, I spoke to Hedstrom earlier on, and I said, how's it going with the new car? And he said it's just completely different to drive. And he spoke to the guys at GRX. Yeah, he said he really enjoys being sideways and went sideways a lot in his old Polo, but he said, I can't drive this that way, it doesn't work. And he also said that the grip is so much higher, the grip in the corners and the traction. He said that actually, physically, he's finding it quite hard to drive, actually from a strength point of view.
He and Anton Markland had a conversation earlier in the year where they were like, what's the best car available at the moment? What do we think is the best car? Once we see Anton go into the into the Joker at the bottom of the shot. Yeah, what's the best car available of all the World Championship cars? And they decided on the Hyundai.
Good by Anton, sorry, just to manage to take the Joker and come out in front. Go on now.
Yeah, great, because Carlson and Michalak are battling behind, aren't they? So yeah, perfect. Oh, Ida now, sorry. Battling behind, perfect scenario. Yeah, so they decided to go for the Hyundai because they feel that that's the best option at the moment. Peter's also racing it in the World Championship next weekend at Julius. It's a shame the conditions aren't as wet as they were a little bit earlier, because I think that man could spring a massive surprise next week and this weekend if it's wet.
Carlson, have a look on the inside of Markland. Markland's going to Hollius next week as well for Euro RX, isn't he? So there's a few drivers here. I mean, they're risking it a little bit, Hal, obviously, because they want these cars next weekend.
Kevin Eriksson needs to put his car in a box on Tuesday to go to America. A lot of these guys are racing these cars next weekend in the World Championship or the European Championship. So yeah, there's a lot at stake.
Yeah, there aren't that many spare rallycross cars knocking about, and basically half this field's going in containers and on a boat to the USA for Nitro, and the other half are going up for the World Championship next week. So it's a bit of a mess. Or it could be a bit of a mess. It's not a mess right now, but it could be. You need to make sure that you don't do anything silly. Kevin Eriksson said to us that I won't be taking any risks, but I do like to win. I mean, it's not compatible.
It's not. 2.7 the gap last time around between Hedstrom and Markland. I think Markland's got enough.
Hedstrom on the outside taking the Joker. Markland's going to try and cover him off, and Hedstrom, risks it and goes inside. Markland parks it on the apex, and in the background you can see Ida just getting beaten to the line by Carlson. He literally parked that. He knew exactly what he was doing, and Hedstrom fired it towards the inside line and managed to get it. Hedstrom could have been awkward. Yeah, just thinking that. I was just about to say that it would have been doing a lot of repair work there, wouldn't he? So this was the start. Hedstrom gets quite a good start, but not good enough compared to Markland inside him. Ida tries to duck in behind, but actually gets a nudge and then runs wide.
Carlson gets incredibly wide, carries way too much pace in, doesn't he? But does a great job to scoop it all back up. Where did he nudge the rear of Anton? That was there.
Hedstrom was pretty patient on the inside there. Actually, when you look at it, he really waited, didn't he? Maybe a nip on the bar to turn it in. Ida was off on the grass, so Enzo lost so much time over that. He was actually on the grass over this crest on the left-hand side of your picture. Not going to see it, are we? And I'm not even sure if that is lap one.
Look at the Markland's Polo, sorry Andrew, land over that jump and then assault the curb. He's a real example of rallycross suspension working at its absolute best.
Look at that. Great stuff. Go on, Enzo. That's a bit of accuracy for you, is it? Nicely done.
Totally different Peter Hedstrom this to the Hedstrom that drove in Julius, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is. And here, watch this. Look, Markland parks it, and Hedstrom, he did have to wait, didn't he? Just a tiny little bit. It was hard to see because our slow-mo, I think, went from slow to fast.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll have that. But great from Anton too. I just love to see the when someone's still using their head when they're competing at that speed, and they're like, I'll park this on the apex and let's see where you go, sunshine. Because if Hedstrom had gone right there, I reckon Markland would have got him.
Yeah.
But he
and
didn't.
then Anton's sitting there going, oh,
damn,
dear.
Yeah. So Peter Hedstrom in his GRX Hyundai takes the win in the first race.
It was a 312.038.
Thank you, Hal. 312.038. That's what 600 horsepower and four-wheel drive does for you. This one, Lars Anderson, Fraser McConnell, Philip German, Johan Kristoffersen and Sondre Evjen. German also in the new toy, Hal.
Yep. EKSJC Audi that he's running this weekend instead of his Polo.
And he bought it, I believe.
Believe so, yeah.
Yeah. Anderson returning from that big crash at Hollius. Fraser McConnell hoping to take P2 in the championship. Evjen hoping to stop him on the outside. And Kristoffersen, the current world champion, three-time world champion. Contact between three cars. Oh, poor Lars Anderson's got a wheel off in turn one. That's game over immediately. And it's German into P2, P3, Sondre Evjen and Fraser McConnell at the back of the pack.
Johan didn't make it the greatest start of all time, but managed to come out on top. Be interesting to see if German can go with him, because German didn't have the pace of Johan in the Polos that are so similar earlier in the year. Look how dry it is now, Andrew. It's completely dry, I would say. It's not across the whole track, but on the line, it's a dry line now, isn't it?
A lot easier to tell, not that they're in the same race, but a lot easier to tell Evgen and Ida apart now, as now Enzo's running his World Championship livery. Like, I won't be getting the two cars muddled up, because they were very similar. Oh, Evgen comes out from the Jokers. Fraser got a problem front left. The car looked terrible in the hairpin there.
It's had awful understeer, didn't it?
Absolutely
It didn't go off the line as he wanted, obviously.
Reminds me of the bottom of the hill at Liddon Hill.
With who driving?
With the IMSC. Was it Andrew Jordan? I can't remember. Do you remember? We stood at the bottom of the hill one time, and it was free practice, and they were winding the lock on it. Just push the whole way through the corner.
Oh, look at Johan clip the bank.
Yes, Johan, come on, get in. Home track for Kristoffersen. He lives just a few kilometres away. They've had some prep issues this week, which they've been working on. Got the car ready for the weekend now, and you know, really, Kristoffersen can't lose this. I always get the feeling Johan might be having fun there, Hal. There's rotation going on there that you don't normally see from Kristoffersen as German comes around the outside of Evgen.
Very patient from German to just wait and see what angle Sondre Evgen's similar Audi was going to be out when he exited the joke lap. Perfect job to go around the outside. They're not too far behind. 2.8 was the gap between. Of course, he just joked, but 2.8 was the gap between Philip and Johan last time around.
Evgen piling the pressure on now, comes over the crest, all crossed up, just about hangs on to it, going to rotate the car back the other way. That was a mistake though, Hal. I think he came over the crest just a little bit too quick, and he was right on the lock stops on the brakes there.
I think German maybe has lost a little bit here fighting, or at least watching his mirrors a little bit with Sondre behind. Johan's is still yet to joke us, so he's got another lap to go. We'll see what the gap is this time around when neither of them have been into the Joker lap. And my timing screen's gone orange, so I can't see.
Fraser McConnell doesn't look comfortable in the car at the back of the pack, I have to say. Just running so wide in that head. But we need to see the starts again to see where the contact was.
Kristoffersen's taken a second out of him in the last lap, 1.1 seconds in the last lap.
I think this might be Johan showing us this is my home track, I'll do what I want. It's almost, you kind of sense the grip levels aren't quite right, so Johan's taking it by the scruff of the neck and going, I'll just chuck it in anyway then and just make it work. I will force the car to work. And he's killing it as always. Johan Kristoffersen, three-time World Rallycross champion, current champion, into the hairpin at home, makes it look easy in the Joker lap, fires it over the line. And his time is a
3:04.287.
So just the 8 seconds faster than they went in the previous run. I mean, you know, even if the track was coming to you, that's just ridiculous, isn't it?
I think the track's reasonably consistent now as well. I don't think it's massively good.
Sorry, Hal, 3:04. Like, it's just mad.
Let's just look back at the start here, and Lars Andersen on the inside, who has a lunge. You can't expect the car on the inside to disappear. Let's look at the drone footage from Vigo's drone shot. Needs to wait for Fraser to go. Anderson unlucky to get squeezed between German and the wall. No, you can't do anything about that.
He hasn't got anywhere to go, and it was contact 3 wide. Fraser didn't get off the line well, and then to me, I say, it's just not the pace we normally see from Fraz. But yeah, it's hardly game over. It's one session, and he did say when we spoke to him earlier today, they got loads of time to look at data and laptops and stuff. He said he'll do about half an hour, and then he'll park it, because otherwise you just keep looking at it and keep going into too much detail. Yeah, look at it, decide what you're going to do differently next time, decide on the settings changes, exercise the plan.
He was pleased with being here last year. I want to see Kristoffersen hit the bank.
Yes, get that grass mown, love it.
Well, I'm sure he knows the people that look after the grass at Westham, so
yeah, probably.
Do him a favour.
Yeah, just nipping the bushes down the side there with the front left. Look, that's what I mean about him taking the car by the scruff of the neck. He's really got hold of that there, hasn't he?
I don't know if Johan is the sort of person just to enjoy throwing a car around. He'd probably just be frustrated.
That he was losing 100 or something, yeah. 3:04.287. So the gauntlet's been thrown down, and it's been thrown down to Kevin Eriksson, who hasn't competed for 2 years. It doesn't seem to have been away for 2 years. So what, that would have been Hollius in the Stormtrooper Fiesta. Was he in the same car as Sebastian when Sebastian won in 19?
Yeah, but then Kevin drove that in the final round of the of Nordic that year, when he won the final round of Nordic when Oliver so desperately broke the suspension on the Civic on the last couple of laps of the final.
That was at the drag racing circuit, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tierp.
That's it, Tierp, yeah, where we were commentating Rallycross Academy.
But he hasn't raced, he's driven a lot. He's become an exquisite development driver.
Let's get into it. Let's see what he does. Can he match the time of Johan Kristoffersen? Kevin Eriksson, Daniel Toren, Dan Oberg and Patrick Guillaume on the outside. Great start by Kevin on the inside line. We want to get clear of the Arco before the other cars get there. Gets a little nudge from just outside. He'll be patient on the throttle on the inside now. Get it rotated. And away he goes. So Kevin Eriksson's got the first part of the job done. Car doesn't look great on the dip after the crest just there. But I tell you what, he looked amazing through the right-hander after the jump. In practice this morning, he was chucking it in, hooking a right wheel over the curve, sitting the rear down and gassing it all the way through.
And this, without being unfair to Dan Oberg, Daniel Turenne or Patrick Guillen behind, this is almost ideal for Kevin, because I don't expect those guys to be fighting for the podium on pace at the end of the weekend, whereas Kevin is likely to be, and he can get his head down and try and set a succession of fast lap times.
Well, they're working with
having done the first corner, he doesn't need to race anyone.
No, exactly, he needed that clean. They're working with R53, you can see on the side of the car, that's the suspension provider. Both this Honda and the Fiesta that Fraser drives have got what we call inboard suspension, as in the dampers don't hang from the top of the strut mounts down to the suspension. They're inside and they work off like cantilevers. It's a bit more like single-seater isn't the right word, but you'll know what I mean.
That's exactly how it is. Yeah.
It's the damper, that puts the weight in a different place. Kevin always liked driving the lights cars, which work the same way, and they went that way with the development, and they have made it work. Of course, the Hondas are due to go across to Nitro Rallycross along with a pair of the Fiestas, and they want to make it work. He was on the phone to R53. We had to delay our TV interview with him earlier because he was on the phone. They got guys building FC1s, guys in the UK, guys in Sweden. It was basically a conference call. What are we going to do with the settings? Yeah,
R53, British company. I was like a lot of experience there from the guys behind it, from Rally Art Mitsubishi back in the rally days and all sorts of things. Was lucky enough to be at a test recently where they were doing some damper development, and it's just so interesting the level of detail they're going to. That man there, Andreas Eriksson, doesn't like doing the normal thing, does he? He likes doing things his own way. Gone for a totally different brand of suspension, new to Rallycross. Now it's in the lights cars, it's in the RX2E cars, it's in his supercars, and they're doing so much development and working so hard. And Kevin's done so much of that development work.
You could see Ollie Eriksson, his brother, was up under the trees as well with a stopwatch and one hand on his cans, which is international sign language for I'm talking on the radio. And in fact, often the button to talk on the radio is up on the can, so you can keep your other hand free. So how are his lap times looking? Can we see any kind of... I didn't notice Christopherson, did you? I didn't know.
I was so excited about watching you. I didn't write the lap times down, and we can't see the previous race on the screen at the moment.
Must get that time screen updated next year. We'll work on that. And
it looks fast to me, though.
Yeah, well, Kevin round the outside. Ericsson, one-time winner in the World Rallycross Championship, and headed across to Nitro Rallycross later on this year. Strong entry over there in America. Very much looking forward to calling the action on that one and seeing which of these cars. The other thing is, of course, the tracks in NRX are completely different to the tracks over here, so development work will need to continue once these cars come on the boat. And he crosses the line. It's going to be close. It's a 3:05.3, so he's only 1.1 second off the time of Johan Kristoffersson. Got a fight on our hands definitely for the win. We've got some people with a little bit of work to do, but at the moment it is the championship leader, Johan Kristoffersson, who wins Q1 at his home track in Arvika. Super finale weekend for RallyX Nordic and for Swedish Rallycross 2. Good start from Kevin. He does get squeezed a little bit in the first corner, but he doesn't lose a second, does he?
No, he doesn't. The bodyweight gets pushed a little bit on the front of the Civic, doesn't it? But nice and tidy around the inside. It's a long while. I bet it's 6 or 7 years since Kevin raced here.
A few of the drivers said that. So Anton Markman said, didn't he? He hadn't been here since, was it 14?
2014. He didn't race then, though. He just tested, I think, as far as I remember. Maybe he did race. Oof. Can't remember.
A little bit of contact, not enough.
Kevin's also wearing 7-year-old overalls, which impressive that they fit better than they did back then.
Yeah, once you get to that age, I'm afraid, 7-year-old overalls normally don't need to go on eBay or something, don't they? Core into the dirt on the outside line. You can see, the front of the Honda has been slightly modified in turn 1, but again, nothing untoward.
Kevin will take that. He'll be pleased to have just got a good banker in Q1. I know he's here to do development and stuff, but ultimately he still wants to be on the podium or winning at the end of Sunday as well.
And this is his only time to measure a benchmark before he goes off to America. You just want to know. He'll know anyway with the lap times, but it's just that thing of doing it in a race situation. Kevin Eriksson, 3:05.3. He's within a shout of Johan Kristoffersson's fastest time. Oberg, Toren and Guillen. Toren actually back after a crash earlier this year as well. He said he'd retired from Rallycross he wasn't going to do it anymore. And then he sent me loads of pictures on Instagram of a truck he's bought to transport his supercar around. And here he is again, racing back at Arvika. So unlucky Daniel. Just the pull of rallycross just keeps you coming back for more, doesn't it? He couldn't quite get away.
He had quite a big crash here in testing and hurt his back. So,
and decided, he said his back's been a problem for a while. And then it was like, I might go testing.
We had a massive shunt in Tierp a few years ago in the Polo, a colossal one. So, that was the end of it. But, of course, it's never the end of it, really, is it?
You keep coming back, don't you, eh?
And he keeps saying just for fun. I'm sure it won't be just for fun tomorrow.
Just for fun. I'm just building a truck. Just for fun. Daniel, you're not fooling any of us, Mr. Toran. We know what you're up to. Right. Unbelievably, we're done for the day. That's it. It's Q1. You get a nice chilled day. Obviously, me and Hal have been working excessively hard in the background to make everything happen today. We haven't actually. The rest of the TV team have. We've just had a lovely chat in the paddock with some new drivers and looking at some brilliant rallycross cars. We'll be back at 1300 local time. That's CET. I'm afraid you're going to have to work it out for yourselves if you're somewhere else in the world. Tomorrow is Q2 and Q3, and then we've got Q4 semi-finals and finals on Sunday. Thank you, Hal.
Cheers, mate.
Great fun. See you tomorrow.